Hi, this is Shane with Moya, and this is Heavy Mental Breakdown. So today's episode is dedicated to Mr. Todd Holliday, who happens to be my best friend who had passed away a few years ago. This one's out to you, buddy. I love you, man.
One thing you did not do that I asked you was after you announced who you were, you have to say how many cats you have, because that is a crucial part of this show.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I'll throw it. Hi, I'm Shane Lazari. I'm from Moya. I have 4 cats, and this is Heavy Mental Breakdown.
Hell yeah. I'm keeping both of those in there.
Man. They all have their own personalities.
I have 2 right now. I just adopted 2 kittens. My wife and I just adopted them.
Except for my oldest, they're all rescues. She was found in a shoebox outside of our apartment complex.
God, I hate that.
The youngest one, we're driving down, if anybody out there listening that's from Bakersfield, Rosedale Highway, I'm driving down Rosedale Highway after I dropped my daughter off in this little bitty fluff ball with 2 ears, walking across 3 lanes, man. I thought I hit her, and I lost it. Speaking of mental stuff, I thought, took me 20 minutes, pulled around, found her, scooped her up, stopped traffic, got her home, washed her off. And
stopped traffic and everything.
Yeah, Superman. The cat loves me. Crazy thing is that we already told ourselves that we were only going to do 3, and the only reason that we kept her, other than the fact that I saved her, is that when we washed her off, she was a tortie, and I've never had one, and I had to have one. So now she's
gotta collect them all.
Yeah, they're like Pokemon, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
I feel the same way too. Like my first cat was a black cat, and I'm like, you know what? One of these days, I want to get like an orange and white tabby. Now, kind of want to switch it up.
You know, they all have their own personalities. I'll tell you that they call it tortitude with the torties, and it's real. It really is. But the thing I love about them is if I'm having like a crazy day, because I work in sales, and I come home and I want to decompress, and I don't really want to talk with my wife at that time because I got to go through the motions and shut down the factory.
Yeah.
They know what's up. They come lay on you. They find out if you're okay. So, you know, and then I get to wake up every day with 4 kitties on me. So it's great. You know what I mean? I live in the kitty ranch.
Yeah. Man, I can't think of a better situation than that. Everything you just described.
Yeah. You know, I mean,
I had 2 cats this morning biting my toe. That's how I woke up. But they were playing, of course. Oh, yeah, but they were like jumping all over my feet. I was I love waking up this way.
They're definitely feet goblins, that's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's so the 4 of them. There's Michael, so Michael Jackson, Miss Cleo, so you can tell him from the 90s. Then we have this one. Her name's Levy. We named her from a character from Fairy Tale, and then my sister-in-law named her Chicken Nugget, so Chicken Nugget stuff. So we have Michael Jackson, Miss Cleo, Chicken Nugget, and the little one is Twix. So
I love how you went full name for Michael Jackson.
My cousin named him.
It wasn't even just Michael.
Michael Jackson fan.
Get over here, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson Lazari. It's funny when my friends come over and their names are Michael, and I'm yelling at them, "Oh, Michael!" and they're like, "What is going on?" I'm all, "No, the cat."
You got to full name the cat when your friends Michael are around.
Well, he knows what's up. 'Cause when you yell Michael Jackson, it's like yelling my middle name at me. He knows he's in trouble.
Exactly. Well, I'm stoked to have this interview with you, man. Thank you for coming on. I feel like we actually have a lot to discuss.
Okay.
First off, you're rocking out in Bakersfield, California.
Yeah.
I am right now. I am in Brooklyn, New York, but I am originally from San Jose, California.
Okay, so yeah, you're just right down the way, man.
Yeah. I actually have quite a few really good friends in Bakersfield. I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years. I know the whole area. Very, very familiar with all of it.
Okay, so you understand. The crazy thing about Bakersfield, too, is like a lot of people don't understand that in the early 2000s, Bakersfield was just like Jerry's Pizza was like the CBGB of Bakersfield, if that makes any sense, man. Like, a bunch of bands came through. I think Dance Gavin Dance played here. Hawthorne Heights played here.
There's some pretty decent shows that go out to Bakersfield.
There's a really cool promoter here in town. He runs a lot of stuff from Sacramento down to Bakersfield, and he has he works with a lot of like entry-level musicians and people that have worked with him for a while. Our very first show, like our big show, The very first show we ever played, we opened up for a band that was on Warped Tour called Forget Your Friends, and then a year after that, we opened up for Red Jumpsuit.
Oh,
and I want to say we opened up for Red Jumpsuit 4 or 5 times. I've talked to Ronnie a couple times. We've opened up for Dead Americans, so I know Cove Reaver. I met that guy. He's real cool. We just opened up for Alien Out Farm.
Really?
Yeah, we've been everywhere. We opened up for Crazy Town. Got to meet those guys. Power Man 5000. OTEP. Yeah. There's a lot of shows that people don't know about. So the cool one for me, it was my birthday in December, and my wife's all, "What do you want to do?" And I'm all, there's this show I want to play. It's the Norma Jean show. It's like 2 days before my birthday, and I hit up the promoter. And with our band, it's weird because for a very long time we embodied that early 2000s like Circa Survive meets kind of Coheed and Cambria, Dance Gavin Dance, like the good stuff, right?
Yeah, I love Dance Gavin Dance, by the way.
So super big fans of those guys. Matter of fact, the funny story is,
they're Swan, Mr. Swan, blanking on his name right now. Will Swan. He's from Sacramento, right?
Yep. So is Johnny Craig. We actually opened up for Slaves.
Oh, sick! I didn't know Johnny was also from Sacramento area.
Yeah, that's how they all knew each other, from what I understand. The crazy thing about that show is that there's another promoter called Numbskull who got us on that show. We literally got that show because a bunch of people hit him up and was like, hashtag let Moya open. So it was pretty cool.
Hell yeah. You had the support behind you.
Dude, okay, so as a band in Bakersfield in the summertime and you're in a garage, it's like 130 degrees in there. So
I was just thinking that does not sound fun.
It's not. So we're behind, and it segues into the story because we're in the back of this like tattoo parlor, right? And there's a bunch of bands playing there. Well, they have no AC, and these people are like, I need water. Like Johnny Craig almost passed out at the show, right?
Oh, shit.
And they look at us and they're like, how are you guys not dying? Because this is how we practiced every day getting ready for that show, because we practiced like all summer long. December's kind of like our downtime. Our singer, he's married and his wife lives in Mexico. So he's always spending time in Mexico. So it's a lot of getting together and practicing, is waiting for him and schedules. It's crazy. So we kind of just started writing music together out of another band. So Moya actually has 3 different decades. They have like the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, and then kind of from the mid to now. We've been together since 2017, late 2016.
Okay. Are you an original member?
Yeah, I'm actually a founding member. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But cool. of this generation of the band. So basically, what happened was there was a band that was real big in Bakersfield in the early 2000s called Half Moon Drive.
Sounds very familiar.
They were an emo band, and they broke up. Everything went. I ended up working. I didn't even know these guys. I ended up working with the lead singer of that band in Kmart in Taft, and then I moved back to Bakersfield because I'm originally from Bakersfield, but I was in Taft for a while. So I moved back to Bakersfield and meet his guitar player, who becomes my roommate. Well, he starts a band with their buddy Todd called A Formal Adversary. So now that's the second generation. And A Formal Adversary had a rap singer, right? So they were cool. They were like if Circus Survive had Zach De La Rocha as a singer. So really good stuff. Well, I
gotta check that out. Is that music still up and streaming somewhere?
Honestly, I think they're on SoundCloud, but I can send you links to all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out.
Super good stuff. Well, the guy who started the band with my roommate became my best friend. So his name's Todd Holliday. He ended up moving to Sacramento, and when he did, the band broke up, and the drummer wanted to start singing, and my roommate's all, hey dude, do you want to play guitar for us? And I was all, yeah. And it kind of went from that. We started in his bedroom with YouTube drums and just garage band, and we're on working on our third album. Our first 2 were produced here in Bakersfield. We released the first one. Slaves is off the second one that never got released until this year. And then we're working on the third one right now. Slaves is on X Machina. The third one we're working on now is called Dark Triad. So we've gone through multiple phases of what we've done. The first one was like very young angst. We kind of like think like Alexis on Fire kind of feeling, you know what I mean? We just wanted to get out there and do everything that we wanted to do. The second album, we were kind of more experimental and opened up, like dropped all the shields, and that's like where Slaves came into play. And the funny thing about that album, I was really big into Coheed at the time. It's still one of my favorite bands.
Yeah,
right?
You're wearing their T-shirt right now.
Yeah, dude, huge supporter. When we opened for Dead American in Red Jumpsuit, I got off the stage and the guitar player grabbed me and he goes, "Has anybody ever told you that you remind them of Claudio Sanchez on guitar?" And I'm
interesting.
That's
wow.
A huge just shout out, man. I was like, I will open mouth kiss you right now, man. So it was cool.
Tongue and everything.
Everything, dude. Lick your forehead. And
if someone told me that my style of guitar playing reminded them of Sinister Gates from Avenged Sevenfold one day, I would feel the same exact way.
You know what? It's funny because my style bounces. I'm an 80s player, so like my big influences. Kirk Hammett from Metallica was huge for me. I'm a big Paul Gilbert fan. Stevie Vai, Jakey Lee, all of that stuff. I didn't start getting into emo music until I was like 25. I think after I got I think it was Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and And Justice were the 4 albums I had on repeat through all of high school. It was that, and then anything else it was weird because I was like thrash metal and glam metal. So like it was weird. I had a weird style. I could go really fast, but I also liked like White Lion and Warrant and Tesla and all of that stuff. And then I got into hip hop because of my uncle, and like I touch everything. I even do like some old school country, I don't do like the stadium country. I mean, to each their own, but with me, I feel like as far as music goes, if I can't be technically stuck in one spot trying to remember what I'm playing on stage, I'm not having fun. I think a lot of that has to do with ADD. But it's one of those things. But for me, people tell me all the time, they're like, "Oh, dude, you sound like Paul Gilbert," or somebody will be like, "Dude, you know that you like when you riff and you're like playing your rhythm sections, you're kind of like Adam D from Killswitch," which is another thing. Like I'm a huge Killswitch fan.
Yeah.
Like Killswitch, Atreyu, Underoath, all of that stuff. Like we try to embody all of that stuff on my end. But on the other end, Joey's more into like Dance Gavin Dance. He's my other guitar player, Circus Survive. But he also likes like old school punk, like Leftover Crack, the Vibrators, and he's really big into. We opened for Reagan Youth one time. We were in a band, a glam punk band called Pretty Bitches. And we never had any songs wrote. We literally just showed up, played Jerry's Pizza, and the guy from Reagan Youth came over and put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You're the baddest guitar player in this whole place." And that was a pretty big compliment, you know what I mean? So it's there's a lot of stuff there. Well, our singer grew up in church, so he think very much kind of Johnny Craigie, but also got like 80s metal kind of flair with his vocals. He's a belter, just real high all the time, and kind of just drives the song. And me and Joey will do backup screams and stuff. So we try to embody as much as what I think would be that 2000s sound, like anything from like the Used, if we can, or Chiodos, up to like Killswitch and Atreyu, like in that genre. And that's like on my end of the writing process.
Yeah, you guys sound like you're very wide range into what you like and what you play, and open to kind of switching things up and trying different things. I think that's awesome, because you don't get kind of just like stuck in one place. You know, one idea branches to another one and to another one. Before you know it, the song's a totally different genre than you even thought it was going to be. But then it's just you know?
It throws people off. Even like people at that Norma Jean show, they were like, "You guys went from sounding like Killswitch. You guys jumped so many genres." And the cool thing for us is that when we can do a change like that, drop from doing something super fast into a clean spot out of nowhere, and people just look at us, that's what we love to do. We've had people tell us that they consider us Moya core, because a lot of people don't do that anymore.
Cause I think a lot of people are kind of worried about how others are going to take their music, and like, oh, they see us this way, and if we change it up, you know, are we going to lose our fan base, or are we going to lose ourselves, you know? And it just,
we're kind of suffering that too, a little bit, to a point, especially right now coming off of the Norma Jean show, and I think a lot of that's me. If there was a captain of the ship, it would probably be me. I talk to all the promoters. I do all the other stuff. The other guys write music, show up, and do their parts too, 100%. But as far as like direction of the music, I feel like I drive it a little in a certain direction. That way, it's still cohesive, with the ability to kind of take detours, if that makes any sense. Because
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you're playing in a band collectively, you may like metalcore, right? But your singer likes jazz, so you have to figure out what works
Yeah.
and kind of go from there. I think one person should have a vision and everybody should follow that vision, but the vision should, when you're getting to that vision, it should be a collective, like
Yeah,
everybody should talk about
absolutely.
it. I think a lot of it too is that we're starting to take it like real serious and things are kind of popping for us. I think we're finally gonna, like, right around the corner of trying to be one of those bands that jumps on as a touring package and kind of hits places from there to there. We've always been the opener. And I think some of the guys might be getting a little nervous because now it's like, I was talking to my singer the other day and he was all, bro, this is like a job for you. I go, yeah, dude, this is a definitely, I work my full-time job as a car salesman, and then the band's my second full-time job. Like for you guys, you
Yeah.
guys get to go home, lay your heads down, and it's not, but I'm the one that's dealing with all the stress. And I kind of put myself in that situation because, again, you never know who's going to say something to a promoter that you already had made a relationship with. And I feel like a lot of that I should be able to give up, but I even myself sometimes feel like I need to let go sometimes. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the hyperfixation and not be, if I can't like control something, you know, everybody ever tell you that if you can't control what it is in this moment, it doesn't matter. I have to control the moment 24/7. It leads to like high medical anxiety too. So
Well, so actually, I was going to go back to something you said earlier about how you have ADD.
yeah. I was diagnosed in
Yeah.
the 90s with it. I did,
And like
everything-
that's a big part of it, you know, always feeling like you need to do something too. So it's like if I need to do something, might as well have it be super productive and, you know, something that I love.
I call it chasing bubbles. You know what I mean? Like I'll
Yeah.
be writing on a riff, and I'm all, well, I got the drum set here too. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Before you know it,
Yeah.
I feel bad because I end up writing the whole song out, harmonies and everything, and then I send it in. And Joey's all, "What the fuck am I supposed to write?" I'm all, "Just play the harmonies and write
Yeah.
all your parts."
Well, it seems like doing this is an outlet for you.
Yeah.
Kind of to get some of that stuff out. So you talk about it. It almost seemed like the way you were wording it was like, oh, I feel bad about this and I have this. But if you look at it in a different way, I mean, that's a huge positive outlet to have, where you're going through these feelings and you're feeling like you can't control it in a way to get it out. It's just it's to contact promoters, is to write the songs, and ultimately it becomes a form of obsession.
Yes.
No, and like you're
absolutely.
obsessed with doing this, but the obsession is coming from a very positive place and an outlet to let out some of those emotions. So I think that's awesome that you're doing that in those moments.
You know what? I agree with you, and I think there's some frustration sometimes because I feel like I do so much that when someone does a little less, I feel like I'm all, well, you know, at the end of the day, dude, I take the time to do all this extra stuff. I think you should do too, and I think that's where like some inner turmoil can happen within a band. There just has to be communication. I've known these
Yeah.
guys. We got a new bass player recently. So that's funny too. The singer's bounced around. He was the original drummer for the band before this one, became a singer. We lost our bass player. He ended up picking up bass and singing, and then we hired another guy. And it's ever since we brought Jose in, it's been a little bit easier because Jose runs he'll run the website that we have that connects you to all of our socials, and then I run the socials. Joey, the guitar player, talks to one set of promoters that are known in Bakersfield. I talk to the other set. That way it's not mixing bad blood. We know exactly what's going on. And then we kind of try to run it as a well-oiled machine. The biggest
Yeah.
problem we have is we are slow startup at the beginning of the year, coming out of the holidays. A lot of people still have families. But as far as like us as a unit, we go through, Aaron called me recently and was all, dude, I don't know if you guys should probably find another singer. And I'm all, what are you talking about? and they were all supposed to be here today. Joey ended up having to go to church because he's a recovering addict. He's been to rehab twice, so now he runs a church meeting and does the band there.
Good for him.
Aaron's sick. He's got the laryngitis or whatever. He sounds like caca. But it was a lot of, well, I don't know if I'm a fit for you guys. And it was all, Aaron, the question for you is, are you having fun? Is it fun for you? Well, yeah, but this and this, and I'm all, that's going to happen, dude. We've been a band for 10 years, almost, 8 to 10. We're going to run into issues like that. I've had beef with you. We've had beef with the drummer. We just, at this point, we're married, bro. So I'll tell you what, you go take your vacation, and then you tell me how you feel when you get back, man, and then we're just off to the races. It's just kind of
so that just happened, you said?
This was probably right after the show. I think it happened. But
do you think kind of the pressure of who you were playing for and the crowd it kind of brought, do you think that might have played a little bit? Because I was like, oh shit, we're opening for Norma Jean here.
Yeah,
we're getting eyes on us. This is more than like our garage band stuff. This is like legit playing shows with.
Oh yeah, I mean the sets were back to back stuck. Like there was 3 local openers. It was us and our 2 local openers, us and Bear King. When we hit the stage, I want to say half to 4/4 of the Nile was full, and then when Bear King hit the stage, it was packed. When we started playing, there were still people pulling in, and I look over and I'm looking at Aaron. He's all, oh shit. So he was all, dude, that's probably one of the biggest shows we've ever played, and we've played some packed places before, but you look out for the first time in a sea of people, and he doesn't really listen to this kind of music. That's the crazy thing, and he's in a rock band, and he doesn't really know too much about Norma Jean, right? So when he looks out,
he didn't understand the weight of the show.
No, he had no idea. None at all. And then when people show up, he's a holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. It was a big show, dude. Yeah. And those guys were super cool, man. They put on a hell of a show, dude. I remember those guys in high school, and I was trying to tell Aaron about it, but when you're relating like heavier music to somebody that doesn't listen to heavy music, they just think everything kind of is the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Which is funny because, like, I'm a huge Killswitch fan, right? And he would rather listen to Dance Gavin Dance, which, to each their own.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Coheed fan. He prefers Tillian. So, like, when we talk music, we're completely different on vocalists.
Yeah. I'm so pissed Tillian's not in the band anymore.
You know what? Dude, I am too, but that band's... look, they're kind of cursed.
Yeah, they are. That's them. You know, like, after he left, like, I was pissed, but I wasn't surprised.
Well, I knew something was going to happen because they did that co-headlining show with Coheed, and Claudio had to be like, hey, you know, with all the allegations that came out about Tillian.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that's coming out now, and artists are getting scared. And, I mean, if you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, then, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. You know, it's so weird, though. Like, on a human level of things, I like to think outside of the box a little bit. And, yes, the things I read and saw online was one thing, but you also have to remember Dance Gavin Dance went through a tragic loss of losing their bass player
at the same time. Absolutely.
And grief is a weird fucking thing, and social media is a weird thing, and being famous is a weird thing, and you know, who knows if it was even misconstrued and what the full, I don't know. You know, to me, I like to try to separate the artist from the music sometimes. Sometimes it's really hard to. Exactly. Yeah. And so I my very first job, I worked at Hot Topic at like 2005. I was like 15. Okay. And that's when I first heard Dance Gavin Dance. It was the very first EP with Johnny Craig on it. And I remember driving, I was living in San Jose at the time. I would drive up to like the Slims in San Francisco and some of these other venues and see Dance Gavin Dance live. I remember there was a show that before Johnny Craig was at the bar, and I just approached him. I'm like, hey man, can I buy you a drink? He was like, yeah, sure. So Johnny and I were just sitting there having a drink together. It was pretty cool.
Story about me and Johnny. So we saw Dance Gavin Dance, Strawberry Girls, A Lot Like Birds. They had this huge show.
A Lot Like Birds.
And I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I wasn't in a band at the time. I wasn't into that scene. I was like at that point I was like really big into like All That Remains and As I Lay Dying, As Blood Runs Black, that kind of stuff. Well, I remember being at the bar and somebody like shoulder shoved me, and I got pissed, and I'm taking off after him, right? And it's just he's the short guy that just looks like a cocky motherfucker with tattoos on his throat and his face, right? And I'm all, oh, fuck that, dude. It's just another Bakersfield guy. So I'm running out after him. My guitar player, who was my roommate, grabs me and goes, "Bro, that's Johnny Craig." I go, "I don't give a fuck if it's Johnny Cash." And then I found out he's in the band. So later on, we opened for Slaves, right? That was a cool show because like I wasn't paying attention, and my guitar player was all, "Hey, dude, did you see that?" I'm all, "What?" He's all, "Johnny Craig was in the crowd." And I was all, holy shit. So we did the autographs, and Johnny's all, "Hey, I gotta go. You're my last one." I was all, "Oh, hell no, dude. You're gonna give me a hug, and you're gonna sign this for me, dude." And Johnny was cool. I feel like he's cool. Always like really cool with his fans.
Yeah, and he was. You know, we had a toast, and we took a photo together. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to see you guys, you know, in about an hour or so.
Even crazier thing, I actually met in my opinion, one of the greatest metalcore vocalists of all time. I actually met Howard Jones here in Bakersfield.
In you know, it's wild.
He was playing. It was before Light the Torch. It was A Devil You Know before they became Light the Torch, right? So I met him, but the way I met him is that we were sitting there watching him play. Well, the bass player is the bass player from the Bleeding Through, right? Well, my buddy,
didn't know that.
Another friend of ours, and he hits his microphone and he knocks his front teeth loose. So we're at the end of the set, right? Because they're trying to get Howard to do Last Serenade, right? These drunk guys in the front. And I'm all, first of all, wrong band, wrong singer, but you know what I mean? And I can tell it's kind of irritating Howard. Well, he gets done and he yells, "You guys from Bakersfield are fucking nuts," and drops the microphone and walks upstairs laughing. So I'm walking outside, and I shit you not, these guys were so cool. I ran up and I saw this door open on a Winnebago outside of Jerry's Pizza in that alleyway, and it's Howard Jones with a handful of French fries, dude. I run up and I grab him, dude, and I know he thought I was crazy because I got these big deer in the head eyes. I'm all, "You are the man." Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "You guys from Bakersfield are nuts." But I met him that night. I met the guitar player from All Shall Perish. I met the second drummer from Trivium because he was their drummer at the time. And I met the bass player from the Bleeding Through. And the only reason I know he knocked his teeth out is because he said this was going to be the third time he got his teeth fixed on that tour.
On that tour.
On that tour.
And of course it would have been in Bakersfield where it happened because you guys were fucking nuts. Dude.
I don't know how I've met so many cool people in Bakersfield. I actually got to meet Chris Broderick from Megadeth here.
Wow. Just like at a show, just like, or it.
He played with Active Defiance at the gate. Cat hair everywhere. Go chicken. Anyway, he played with Active Defiance, and I talked to him, and he's cool, man. He's ripped though, dude. Super beefy, man. Works out every day. But I got to see Atreyu at the gate. I saw Trivium and Flyleaf and Evanescence here in Bakersfield. There's been some pretty cool shows.
Well, one thing that I love about this conversation is you are a music fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you are, like, all about your favorite bands, wearing band tees. When you see them, you appreciate them, say what's up. And, like, I feel like that's just the best way I think that is the best mindset to have when you're playing music. It's like, I'm doing this because I just love it. You know, it's not for like monetary gain or recognition, or it just sounds like you're having fun and you're meeting people that you love and you're creating stories that mean a lot to you. And it just sounds like you are going the right way about all of this.
I'm trying, man. I think a lot of it is interaction with the people that come see you. You know what I mean? Like when you get off stage and somebody comes over to you and you're like, "Oh my God, I've never heard that before." You don't blow somebody. Dude, they took their time to come talk to you about something that you like to do. They could have just been at the bar drinking a beer, but no, they sat there and watched you play your overplayed guitar solo that you do 100 times before practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the feeling that I love, is like when people are like, "Hey, where did you learn how to play?" Or "You guys are crazy," or "We didn't expect that from you guys." You know what I mean? That's the best part. Or when you're interacting, like people bring their kids, and I'm in the front, dude. I'm such a showman, and I love the '80s. So a lot of it is like I like to get down there with the kids and like make faces and fist
Cool.
bump and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing, dude. We are a
Yeah.
party band that doesn't party. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and Joey's a recovering drug addict. So I mean, uh, a lot of it comes from wanting to just be there for the fans. We had a show with Red Jumpsuit shortly after. So funny story, not real funny, but my best friend, the one that was originally the guitar player, I took over his position. He passed away a couple years ago from lymphoma,
Sorry to
and
hear that.
yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. I ended up going up to Colorado to go to in July to go to his celebration of life. Well, I ended up getting a kidney stone, and I'm type 2 diabetic. Um, Fast forward, I get home past the stone, and I go full septic. So I'm in the hospital, man. I'm in the hospital. The doctors are like, "You're 2 days away from dying. I'm glad that you came in." And it
Holy
puts like a
shit.
lot of perspective, dude. Like
Yeah,
it
it
went
does.
from, "Hey guys, I'm gonna be at practice. I was supposed to go to practice that night," to the doctors, "Oh, you're gonna be here for about a week." I went from 160 pounds to 120 pounds, 140 pounds in 6 days. I lost 20 pounds. And all I could do was, "Hey, when I get out of here, we're gonna practice. We got the show. We got the show. We got the show." My first practice back, I couldn't even stand up. I had to sit down. The guys are like, "Can you even do this?" And I'll be like, "You guys are gonna have to will me to the stage, and I'll."
There
play
was
sitting down
nothing
if I have
stopping
to."
you from it.
Oh no, dude! Like
That's how much this means to you.
So if I'm selling tickets to a show that my band's playing, we're fucking playing.
Yeah.
Like, and the guys know that. If you guys already agreed that we're doing the show, like, if you love me and we are friends, we're doing the show because we have people that bought tickets for us to play the show. Like, it's
You're
just as
all in,
important.
man.
Oh yeah, no, this is like this has been the dream since I've been 12. You know what I mean? I watched my uncle play music, and he got me into it. And then he was an actor. He did a bunch of commercials for Pepsi and Reebok and all kinds of stuff in the 90s. And I watched my grandmother pass away from cancer, and he went down the whole drug thing and just totally pissed his career away. And I started playing at 12, and I knew from the first power chord that I was going to do music my whole life. My wife's always like, "Why don't you just play video games for a couple hours?" I'm all, "Because then that's a couple hours I'm not playing guitar." You know what I mean?
So this is a rough question then. What's the goal with all of this for you? What's the end of Shane's music career look like?
So the funny thing with me, dude, is that if it gets to the point to where I can't physically play on stage anymore, I would love to produce. I have an ear
Okay.
for music. Like, I do a lot of our recordings in our band. I built up a studio. So like I do all of the pre-work here in my house and sit down and I help with Aaron. Aaron's like, "Well, what do you think of this?" And I go over vocal ranges and stuff like that. I want to be a sound engineer if I can't make a career out of playing music, or be a studio musician. The goal for me is to always have music in my life and make some kind of career out of it. And it's funny because I think about cooking the same way. I mean, they're both, I do both of them real well, and they're both something that I would consider more of a passion than a hobby. Because, I mean, even with me, as open as I am to music, I feel like I gatekeep a lot when it comes to certain stuff. Like, people will say that this isn't metalcore or this is metalcore, and I feel like I'm 100% purist because I'm from the 2000s. So I feel like I want to kind of bring that sound back and help bands that want to focus on trying to bring that sound back from like the 2000s. What can I do to kind of help bring that back? I feel like there's always kind of a resurgence. So I think my band's kind of on the forefront of that. As much as the guys want to kind of go in a different direction, I feel like us kind of pushing that way is good for us because a lot of bands aren't kind of sounding like that right now. But if I can be there, like we had a band that came and watched this, these two kids here in Bakersfield. If they see this, they're gonna laugh. They were in a band, I forgot what it was, like Bloodborne, but now they go by Claim the Ruins, right? And they were just like, "You guys are so fucking rad. How are you guys like so like complicated on guitar riffs but still stay in the pocket?" And I was all, "Dude, a lot of it is just hoping that I'm playing on time and staying there with the other guitar player." Because mine and Joey's guitar playing styles are completely different. Like, when I did the shift from playing what we used to play to more of like a metalcore kind of push in the songs that I write, me and Joey never played the same thing ever. Like I would play a rhythm section and he would play a lead and we would flip flop. And on those first two albums, you couldn't tell who was playing what except if you knew our guitar styles. So at one point before he went to rehab, when we were writing music together, at some point we were so in tune with each other, we didn't even have to look at each other and we already knew we were going to make a change.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't feel right.
Back to that. Yeah. It's you go through your ups and downs with musicians. You know what I mean? I think those kids deserve a shout out because I listened to some of their stuff and they're like big metalcore fans, man. It makes me feel old. They're like, oh yeah, dude, we like All That Remains and All Shall Perish. And I'm like, holy shit. Dude,
now all those bands are doing like 20-year anniversary shows, 25-year anniversaries of their first album, making us in our mid-30s feel super old.
Dude, Chiodos is doing one. You know what I mean? I'm just all, this is crazy, dude. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like I watched an interview with Garza and Adam D, and Adam D's all, I'm an old man now, dude. I'm like, don't say that, Adam. You're the man.
Yeah. Well, I really love this story, so I'm going to kind of sum all this up in for a sec. So this band has gone through multiple different stages, you know, and each stage there was a different point in your life, and a lot of different things going on, a lot of big things, a lot of just a lot of life things happening. And now you're at a point where you've kind of gone through a lot of just life and figuring out who you are as people. And that has made you the musicians and the band you are today. And the fact that it almost seemed like it needed to happen at this point because you guys have gone through some stuff and now you can approach it with this new mindset of, you know, this is what we love. And if we can inspire people too, that's amazing. And just hearing the passion in your voice, it's just awesome, man. I'm feeling great energy here with you and your music, and you know the intentions behind it, and the desire to get it done, and the willpower to get it done, and the fact that you have ADD, but you use it in a positive way to get this stuff out, to almost become obsessed with the band. And I feel when you become obsessed with something, it could be a really good thing.
It can be, but sometimes I feel it's really good because it's a good outlet. But sometimes I feel like when I can overdo it. Sometimes I feel like the band does real well, but sometimes at home I should be spending more time with my wife.
Sure.
So that's that's the toss up because I work all the time and then I work on music when I'm at home. So I feel like my wife only sees me every once in a while. So that's kind of
well. Here's the thing about that, because I suffer with that kind of mindset as well, and I feel like I need that outlet because if I don't have it, then I am not my best self when I'm with my wife. And so it's like, okay, I can have this moment and just be thinking about music the entire time and have an urge, and it kind of makes me feel a certain way when I'm not doing it. Let me get that out really quick so when I'm with you, my time is with you and not someone else.
She's so wholeheartedly approves of everything I do. She normally there at every show. She helps with the merch.
Yeah.
The first time I got to see Coheed, I remember my cousin was telling me, he's like, hey, dude, Coheed's playing at the Greek in LA. And I was just like almost in tears because I want to go so bad, right? And we were on our way outside of Magic Mountain and heading to the car.
Sure.
And
Magic Mountain.
I told her about it. A week later, dude, she comes over and she shows me her email confirmation for tickets to go see Coheed and Mastodon, dude. First of all, I love Mastodon, but I fucking fell asleep. I woke up for I also fell asleep in Slayer, dude. I went to Slayer played here, and I fell asleep in Slayer, but I woke up during Raining Blood. I woke up during Blood and Thunder, you know what I mean? But Coheed hit. This is a funny story. Coheed hit, right? And it was right after they brought out that album with Dark Sentencer. What is it, Beautiful Creatures or whatever? So they have this big tarp and they start playing Dark Sentencer, right? And it drops. And dude, it's just nuts. and I'm losing my mind. Well, they go into Favor House Atlantic, right? And I hear somebody behind me scream, "Claudio, I love you," and I'm all, "Fuck yeah, I love him too," right? My wife's
Turn
got
around
this
and
on
high five
film,
him.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there was no one there when we played the playback. It was me screaming, "Claudio, I love you." I was all, "Oh shit!" So yeah, I have seen them like 4 or 5 times. The best
That's
show
cool.
that I've seen was them and the Used. I got to be in the pit. The funny thing
That's cool.
there's something about me and Johnny Craig. I'm in the pit and I'm like going through. It was just after the Used played and Coheed did like Favor House Atlantic. Actually, I take it back. I think it was at the end of the night because we were leaving. And I have Johnny Craig on Snapchat or Instagram, and I'm going through his Instagram, and he's posting. He's one row behind us because we're in the pit. He's in a seat right behind us. Like, you could literally, I could turn around with a song, and my sister hasn't met him before, and she's all fucking bullshit because she knows I've met him twice. So,
Yeah, there's something there with you and Johnny.
You know what? I want so bad to work with that guy. So bad. He's one of my favorite vocalists. Like him,
Yeah.
Tillian's good. Claudio's good. Howard's good. Like, I like a lot. I have such a wide range of singers, but I just feel like there's something about Johnny, especially on those early Dance Gavin Dance albums. Like Downtown Battle Mountain's probably my favorite album. And what is it? So I told him I invented Times New Roman. That song's the shit, dude. That the whole album's just really good. And I even like the stuff he did with Imarosa, like The Passion Stay Dead. And
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like all of those songs, dude. And don't get me wrong, I like what Imarosa's doing too. Right now, like they have this kind of like pop vibe that they have too. Now another band, and I think I just like singers that kind of have a wee bit of an ego because I'm a big Chiodos fan too. And I love Drugs, dude. So that band is awesome as fuck.
I like Drugs.
And a lot of people don't know about those guys. Those guys are super good. I remember I got into those. Somebody told me, if you like Chiodos, check out Drugs, dude. And I fucking lost my mind, dude.
No, Drugs is great. I think working on Hot Topic was one of the best things that happened to me because I just found all this music that I probably wouldn't have found otherwise.
Yep.
Yeah, just talking to customers coming in. Yeah.
Well, even younger kids at my work, like I'll go in the back and there'll be guys prepping a car that I just sold, and they're like, "Hey, man, so I just stumbled upon this band. I'm all, dude, we'll check this guy out and check these guys out and check these guys out and let me know." And everybody's like, "That's the old music head there. Go talk to Shane. He knows all about that stuff."
That's awesome. Downtown Battle Mountain.
At what point I was... That's a good one, man. Mothership's good too. What's the one before? Instant Gratification, the one with We Own the Night. Like that whole album's dope. That one was really
was that
good.
the one Kurt Travis was on?
Kurt Travis was on the one right before that, I think.
Right before that,
before
okay.
that. That's the one with Uneasy Hearts, Weighed the Most.
Oh, okay, yeah. There was a time that I kind of like after Downtown Battle Mountain 2 is when I kind of dropped off with them. And I didn't really listen to them that much.
Well, funny story about those guys too is like early Bakersfield was like dude, you want to talk about nuts, dude. It was probably like the 80, I want to say Sunset Strip in the 80s was like Bakersfield scene in the 2000s. Like my buddy Joey was telling me how he was doing coke with Will Swan and like drinking with Johnny Craig because all those guys were just coming out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I saw Hawthorne Heights here, and they were talking about how they just recorded Ohio is for Lovers.
Oh,
and
God.
People were telling him at the show or asking him, "Why didn't you play that song?" He's all, "How do you know about that song?" They were all, "Because we went online and burned that shit for free." And he was all, "What are you talking about?" And, "Oh, yeah, we streamed your music for free." And he was all, "Bro, that was the craziest shit. We just recorded that song, and 2 states over, kids are already asking us to play it." And that the 2000s were just, for me, I feel like that time was like Woodstock for our parents, dude. Like a lot of stuff was coming out around then that was just gold. Silverstein, Circus, Seosin, fucking. I didn't like any of it in high school.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit. I was like 25.
Oh, no.
So I'm living it now. You know what I mean? So it's crazy too because like in high school it was Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. I'm a huge Chris Cornell fan. Like vocally, he's one of my favorite singers of all time.
They just got
filled
inducted into the
issues.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I watched that. I watched that. I really enjoyed everything. His daughter came out, and I think she did Fell on Black Days and nailed it. Another artist who just passed away, you know, rest in peace, Ozzy, was a huge influence on me as a kid, and I didn't realize it until how much, like, the day he died, I kind of went to a bit of a dark place, and I just listened to his catalog on repeat. I think I started with, like, Devil's Daughter, and I went from that to I started like just going back. I was all, let's listen to the stuff with every variation of guitar player he had at that time. And then with me as a guitar player or a musician, I find the people that I am intrigued by, and then I try to study them as much as possible before I move on to the next person. And I feel like with me, I kind of soak everything up as a sponge. And I like to blend a lot of melodic stuff that you would get from metalcore or metal and stuff like that, but then move it with a little bit of a poppiness that you would get, like, think early Atreyu, you know what I mean? Like, they had kind of like a poppy feel, but they were into that stuff from, like, Denmark. They were into In Flames and stuff. And I didn't realize it for the longest time, but Killswitch is a big In Flames fan. I didn't know that until after I watched the interview with Garza. They were like, yeah, we just really liked In Flames. And I was all, that makes a lot of sense because I'm a huge In Flames fan too. I think Anders Frieden's the man. Like, and Bjorn is such a good guitar player. And the reason I have so much respect for Bjorn is because as a guitar player, he's not like, it's not like he's a shredder, but he is, you know what I mean? He's not doing sweeps. He's not doing like a lot of back and forth picking patterns, but he's a damn good guitar player. And I kind of have that same kind of style where it's like, I take like a lot of stuff that I know that I'm good, and I kind of just focus on what it is that I'm good at and try to learn the other stuff. Like, I can't sweep pick. I mean, I can halfway do it and make it sound decent, but I'm a firm believer if whatever it is I record, I have to play it live.
Right.
Like, I have to, note for note. Like, I have to. If not, then I'm just having a shitty night, and then that I start doing that. Well, you could have played it better, and then as a musician, that just kills you. I'm also a huge Prince fan. Prince is the shit. I like Michael Jackson. Like, Aaron is into like so Aaron's mom and our guitar player's mom passed away recently. Matter of fact, they were just months apart, right? And I got to make it to the singer's mom's funeral, and it was cool. He didn't know I was there because he was around family. I didn't want to bother him, but I stayed there for like a good majority of it. And when I tell you that I thought I walked into and he's Hispanic, right? I thought I walked into a Southern Baptist church. These people were getting down. I was waiting to see Aretha Franklin and James Brown. Like, I never been to a church in my entire life that was actually like that. It was like from the scene from, what is that? Why Did Fools Fall in Love? Is that what it is? The Tina Turner movie or whatever. You know how, like, at the beginning of that movie, like, you have to watch it.
I've seen that movie.
It's a watch. But I walk in, dude, and you literally felt the Lord. Like, it was crazy, and it made me have like a different outlook on God. It really did. Like, and I felt bad because at one point I'm sitting up against the door, and this lady's I think they're doing a song called "Going Up Yonder." It was his mom's favorite song, and she's just fucking giving it, dude, like Blues Brothers status. And I'm all, yeah, dude, I can feel it. And I hit a switch and the lights turned off for a split second. And I was like, oh, God, right? And one of the guys, the ushers came over and he's like, hey, man, your back's on the switch. Bro, I thought I was really seeing stuff. Dude, I felt such a connection. So he grew up in church. So he's got like a real gospel-y, like, belty voice. So it's crazy because when I'm having like a mental day, like, I'll call him and we'll talk. And he'll be like, he's like, he thinks of like scripture and like religion from like an actual like scientific standpoint. Like, he does research and he looks into it and stuff, and he's all, well, this and that and this and that, and it kind of helps, you know what I mean? And then Joey's big into into religion too. It helps a lot with his recovery. In a band, I feel like a lot of us turn to substances. Like, I did alcohol and Joey did like lots of cocaine, and I think it was just masking something that we were missing. in our lives.
Yeah.
And
that's where pretty much all addictions come from, is something deeper that
Yeah.
you're trying to not deal with or, have present at the moment. And in doing this podcast, I there's a lot of people who have gone through, being an alcoholic and going through the stages of sobriety and stuff like that. And there is a huge connection of being in that moment of having that addiction or struggles, but then religion comes into effect and it kind of changes everything.
I think coming out of the hospital, so they told me that my liver was fine. I used to be a really big pothead, like super bad. I would smoke, me and my buddy would split an ounce of wax. So I would smoke a half ounce in less than 3 weeks of wax. So they did an x-ray on my chest and the doctors came back and they were all, your lung base is clean. There's no signs that you were ever a smoker. Your liver looks fine. We can't tell that you were ever a drinker. And there was at that point that I told myself, I'm done. I'm done drinking. I'm done smoking. I kicked a lot of stuff. My buddy Todd dying from cancer really fucked with my head a lot. I went down a really, really dark hole, man, for months. It probably took a year and a half. It started with me thinking that I was having the same side effects that he was having from the cancer, from itchy legs to sweating at night. It got so bad that I finally went to the doctor because I have really bad medical anxiety and I'm like crying. And they're all, what do you want me to do? I need you to just run a CBC to let me know that I don't have cancer. And it went from that to I thought I had melanoma, and I went and got a mole cut off. And the hyperfixation with me is real, man. I haven't told a lot of people this because it's kind of a personal story. I remember one night I was done. Got into an argument with my wife for no reason. Like, my wife's the sweetest person ever. I keep asking her all the time. I don't know why she hasn't left me yet. I literally took my car keys and I threw my house keys on the couch and I was out the door and she couldn't find me. And I posted a picture on Instagram of me at the bar with a drink and she went full CIA, man. She Googled countertops at bars in Bakersfield and found out what bar I was at. And I had a few drinks and I got in the car and I took off and I was heading towards Taft. And there's this road out in Taft called Airport Drive. A lot of people know about it if they're from the area. It's kind of like the canyon, like you're going up to Tehachapi. And there's just road and you have cliff and then nothing on the other side. And I was on my way up there. I was going to turn the lights off and go down it as fast as I could to see what was going to happen.
Oh, shit, man.
And my mom called the cops. The cops called me and I ended up stopping at my sister's house and spent the night out there. And that was probably one of the craziest phone calls I ever got. It really made me understand that the mind can really do enough to you that it could kill you. It really can. Like, I had doctors tell me that they were more worried about me getting cancer from the level of stress I had than me getting it from natural causes. And that kind of was nuts, man. A lot of people don't know it. My sister's gone through it, but when you get into a situation like that and you're disassociating and you don't know how to handle it, everything that you're afraid of in that moment is 100% real. And nobody can tell you that it's not, because you get stuck in this big loop of hyperfixation. And then it's a lot of, well, do you think? And it can ask I talked to my wife too about it today. They can answer the question the way that you want them to answer it 1,000,000 times. But you're going to keep asking just to get clarification, because for some reason your brain won't let you just take the information they gave you and process it. It's a lot of, well, it's not guaranteed, you're not a doctor, then why are you asking me at that point? So in those situations, I have to take myself and tell myself, hey, look, it's not like you're going to ask her again, and either thing that she's going to say is going to be whatever it is. You kind of just have to let it be what it is. And learning how to just kind of take life. And my therapist was really cool. She's all, Shane, you have to realize that the thoughts are like a big tiger in the room. The tiger's not going to mess with you unless you mess with the tiger. So you guys can coexist. You just have to learn how to turn it off. So with me, if I'm overthinking about something and it's bugging me, I feel like if I don't overthink about it, then the worst possible outcome is what's going to happen. Now, to counteract that, I have to give myself at least 3 to 5 minutes where I'm not thinking about that thing, because then it just dissipates. I forget what I was thinking about. So then it kind of goes away. You have to learn how to break that cycle. You have to put the brakes on. And for people that have never understood that or have never had to deal with anxiety before, I feel like when they first time they have a panic attack or an anxiety attack, it's scary.
Yeah, you think you're dying.
Feel like you're all alone. Like for a long time. Or even with like OCD, like sometimes when I was young, I would have to touch something 3 times or someone in my family is going to die. You know what I mean? And I've never heard anybody else. And then one day on Dr. Phil, they were talking about OCD. And then I got a coworker whose wife is going through it. And you talk to these people and they're like, I felt alone. And you're not alone. But there's such a stigma on mental health, man, especially for men. I was always taught as a person, get up, pour a warm beer on it, walk away, you'll be fine. But no, dude, sometimes that warm beer turns into something else. I have the bottle effect, man. I'll bottle it up until I pop. And then like cats are afraid of me, my wife's afraid of me kind of thing, dude. And it gets bad. So I had to learn how to do it and be okay with crying. It's okay to cry, you know what I mean? Especially in front of people you care about. And anybody that says that you can't cry as a dude, it's stupid. There's such a stigma behind crying. I cry at work, dude. Fuck it, whatever. And sometimes I cry with customers. Like I have stories all day long about how my life is kind of crazy from the way that I was raised. Like my mom had me and my 2 sisters. We're all from different dads. My mom told me all the time that she didn't love me any different than the girls. She didn't love me any less. She loved me different because I was a man and she expected more of me. And I don't really hold that against my mom in a negative way, because that's kind of like how my grandfather grew up. You know what I mean? As the man, you were supposed to kind of stand up. But sometimes, man, I'll take some help. Why not? Like the whole pride thing is kind of what will derail everything. If you can't go on, if you don't feel comfortable taking a medication, then seek other outlets. You know what I mean? They try to give me Zoloft and I was I'm not doing that. And SSRI just depletes your serotonin. So I just have to figure out what I'm going to do first. And I kind of went through that stage. Now in my life, I'm trying to just focus on what makes me happy and focus less on the stuff that's scary. You know what I mean? The big one for me is getting old and cancer. Like cancer and getting old are just, they kind of go hand in hand. You know what I mean? And you never know what's going to happen to you because somebody else in your family was genetically just different. So now you have to worry about it. So my daughter has moles. I freak out about her moles.
There is a lot that you just said there. And I don't really want to bypass it because I feel like I have some stuff to say to that. First off, thank you for sharing that story. You said not a lot of people know it. So for you to come on here and tell it to a stranger, I appreciate that. You talk about being done.
That's what mental health's about, man.
Yeah. You talk about being done and, there was a cliff, turning the lights off, and the cops were called and, hey man, I'm pretty open about it on the podcast. I had an attempt a couple years ago, and a lot of it had to do with heavy drinking before, and I'm dealing with bipolar, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it at the time, and alcohol and bipolar does not go well together at all. It exemplifies the feelings like times 5, and suicide attempts and suicidal ideology is heavily connected to bipolarism, and even like the lifespan of someone with bipolar is so much smaller, and that's because suicide attempts are extremely high, but also just because of the heavy like mood swings and emotions we go through. It's hard to handle because it's a daily battle. And so, there was one day where I attempted...
It feels like your body's going to shut down every time you get mad.
Yeah. No, seriously, yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to regulate. But I actually called the cops on myself because I was about to go through with it. I was done. I was getting a bunch of phone calls. Everyone was trying to contact me, and I was just like, I didn't want to hear it because I had already made the decision. I wrote a note and everything. I was done, and I don't know. Something made me call the cops and just be like, I'm not. I want to do this, but I'm having doubts now. Now that I'm this deep in it, I'm having a little bit of doubt, and if this is the right thing to do. So I ended up in the hospital and all that, and that's actually what kind of. And then music is what kind of got me through after that. After being in the hospital and going through those emotions, music's what got me through it, and lyrics are what got me through it, and that's what sparked this whole podcast, man. And I'm looking at the numbers, and my biggest audience, 86%, as I looked yesterday, 86% is men ages 24 through 35.
Okay.
There's something there about,
That's
kind of going...
much.
Yeah, going back to what you said, that stigma in men and mental health and not wanting to talk about it and having, and not having an outlet to put those emotions in like you do with music or obsessing about those things, or me with, this podcast is kind of, I'm not trying to hype it up too much, but it's kind of taken off a little bit. And people...
I've seen that. I was excited to be on because I think...
Thank you.
I was going to say I'm excited because I think what you're doing is really great.
Thank you. And most of the guests I have on are men. And just having a space with another dude to talk about these things and feel safe and comfortable, I think is so important, man. And so it just, when I hear things like what you just said about, what you're doing is important. And also, men tend to not cry and, talk about their emotions. I mean, those are the things that inspire me to just... I get obsessed with like, okay, cool. How, I'm booking multiple, just like this interview got pushed because I was interviewing a guy right before this. And he was talking he was talking about his story with religion and how he grew up in, going to a Catholic school and how that affected his life. And, now in his 30s, he's writing music about it and didn't realize the huge effect because he had always pushed that away. And so I think talking is it's just huge.
I feel like men, we compartmentalize a lot of stuff. Like that thing that happened, it's just easier for us to not talk about it and just put it in a box and throw it away. Well, sometimes you don't throw it away, it just gets backed up.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the funny things that my therapist told me, she was all, if you're walking around, we're going to play a game. If you're walking around and I got a blindfold on you, right? And there's a bunch of holes. And you fall into one, what are you going to do? You can't call out for help, right? You can't call out for help. She goes, you have a bag full of tools, but you don't know what is in your bag. What do you do? And I was all, I don't know. I mean, I guess. She goes, you take the blindfold off. And then you perceive what you're in. And then you figure out how to get out of it. And I was like, that's the craziest thing, because with me, when I'm deep in it, I always tell people that I like to ride on the border of just about to go crazy and be insane, because for some reason that's just where my body regulates, and I hate it. But I learned how to, right when you're about to have one of those episodes, I learned that with me, she taught me to visualize where I feel it at in my body first. And try to stop it there. So with me, a lot of it starts like in the middle of my shoulders and goes up the back of my neck into my head, and then that's when I know I'm about to have a good one, right? That's like where all the tensity is. If I can catch it in the moment and just go, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, just hold it in, walk, breathe, it'll dissipate some. So that helps out a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting because so my wife and I have a color system. When I am going through an episode that just comes out of nowhere, I'm like, am I green? Am I yellow? Am I like orange? Am I red? So it's a good place without really having to dig deep into where I'm at that moment. Because when I'm going through like manic depression or the opposite of just hypermanic, it's really confusing for her and for me. So to try to understand where my mindset is, we kind of have like a color coding system.
I like that because it really helps. With me, I just tell my wife I'm going through it again, and she's like, no, you can't do that. And I feel bad because I'll text my wife. I'll be at work and something will set me off, and and she's all, go to the car, sit down, walk, take a drink of water, figure it out. And yeah, I
Breathe.
feel like I'm getting better about it. I really am. I should probably talk to my therapist more. There was a time where I was really, really relying on marijuana to kind of get through it, and every once in a while it still helps. You know what I mean? I'll take a gummy here and there. I believe in it wholeheartedly. I think it's good for people that need it.
Yeah, me too.
But getting through, or I'm old now, so what I'll do is I'll go grab some like the L-theanine and magnesium things from the sprouts and pour it in my water.
Yeah,
and I'll be all chilling at work.
Yeah.
So people at work kind of know too. They can tell because I'll get quiet and I won't really talk to people, but I still do my job, which is crazy because I tell everybody at work that it's the Robin Williams syndrome. Like you would never know at work, at least my customers don't, because like I've like got the best surveys in the store. But yeah, man, look what happened to Robin Williams, and I heard
that mask gets heavier to hold.
Yeah, well, he was going through onsets of dementia, I think is what it was. Like they found out, and he didn't know what was going on. And Chris Cornell was having issues too. Like he killed himself, and then right after that, Chester did it.
The hardest, I think, musically, and when it comes to deaths and mental health, the hardest one for me was Chester. I went through a crazy depressive moment in my life, and it lasted for years actually, because it just stayed there. And I'm like, if this person who I've looked up to since I was 10 years old, and you know, he is who he is, and the success and the fame, the family, the wife, the kids, the money, everything you can think of, and still not happy, what makes me think that I can get out of where I'm at? Like, do I think that I'm stronger?
100%.
Am I stronger than Chester Bennington? Absolutely not. So it you know, but that's what I felt in the moment, and I'm just like, man, it's so crazy how our brain works, and how we deal with grief and loss and mental health, and when we lose someone, especially someone we didn't know personally, you know, but there's still that like connection there. And when Chris died too, that absolutely was tough. I mean, that whole summer, I hate reliving.
Yeah, well, look at Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters too.
Yeah,
they were just in Bakersfield. They played the Nile like a week before we played it.
Cool.
They released we're doing a secret show, and they only sold so many tickets. You couldn't buy them online. You had to go down to the box office, and they sold out. There was like 500 people there.
Nice. I love when bands do that.
That's me too. And I feel like more bands should do that. The scene's really weird now because like music industry isn't where it used to be. Like for us as artists to make any kind of money, we have to push merchandise. You know what I mean? You don't make it off the album anymore. Streaming's not like a lot of money. You kind of have to do like a big push for touring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where I like when I think of being on the road and touring, and this will probably like open up and segue to like where my mental health is that I always wanted to be Motley Crue rock star. You know what I mean? Like getting fucked up on the tour bus, hookers, blow, all of that. But I never did any hard drugs. I think the craziest thing I ever did is I got hooked on Xanax for a minute. That was nuts. I took my first Xanax one time, and I woke up a week later and was like, that was fun.
Yeah.
So
a week later, that was fun.
Benzos are crazy, dude. But I mean, I think a lot of it is realizing that it's okay to be different. Like, I think we're afraid to talk about it because men don't want to admit when they're different. You know what I mean?
Not even different, but vulnerable.
Vulnerable, absolutely. And that, well, I mean, even some of the toughest musicians are still being vulnerable. You can listen to Cannibal Corpse, but they're getting up on stage and they're playing something that they wrote, you know, and it's something that they love. They're showing their art. And you would never think that, dude, they're up there, or Slipknot, they're fucking up there just being nuts. No, they're being vulnerable. They're in their comfort space, and they're sharing that with you. And that's what I love artists about, you know what I mean? Is that when they can take part of their life and they're literally giving part of their life to you. You know what I mean? They're bringing you into this. Like they gave birth to this music, not for just them. They're giving you a gift. You know what I mean? And music brings people together. Like we have this thing, like if you go to a reggae fest, you know what I mean? Us metalheads, we want to mosh, right? Well, at Reggae Fest, they do the same thing, but we call it moshmallow. They kind of just
Oh, okay.
Bounce
Yeah,
around. It's
Okay,
real soft,
yeah.
marshmallow.
Yeah. I wanted to go back really quick because you had talked about Slipknot. So one of the reasons, I told you one of the main reasons that came out of this podcast was just having a place to talk about mental health because of my attempt. However, another thing that really sparked it was a couple years ago, I had saw on YouTube, there's an interview with Corey Taylor, and he's sitting with a therapist. And that's all it is. It's Corey Taylor and a therapist. And therapist is asking Corey all these questions about his past, his childhood. Why do you wear masks? Why do you sing about the things you do? And Corey just like does a deep dive into like how he was raised and the traumas he went through as a kid. And it really inspired me. Because I'm like, 20 years ago, this guy was just on stage with a mask, singing all these crazy lyrics, and I didn't even know what he looked like, and then like 20 years later, he's sitting down with a therapist and there's like millions of views on it. And I'm just like, wow, good for him.
Well, and it's funny, we share a birthday. We're both born on December 8th.
Oh, okay. I share a birthday with Rob Zombie.
That's pretty cool. Actually, so I guess Spider from Power Man 5000 is like his stepbrother or something. So I actually got to meet those guys because we opened for him. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've got to work with Power Man many years ago. Spider did like an art festival in LA. Like,
that's
I
pretty
don't know,
cool.
5 or 6 years. No, probably even longer than that. And I went and filmed it. So there's like a video somewhere of Spider One's art show that I did.
He does not look like he's aged at all.
No, he doesn't.
That's crazy.
No, he doesn't.
Well, and another artist that's really big with dealing with like mental health and stuff is James Hetfield from Metallica. Like Papa Head himself has got issues. You know what I mean? He deals with alcoholism.
Yeah. It took him a while to get to a point where he can talk about it and be open about it, but he is, and yeah.
A lot of it's about his mom too. So that song, "The God That Failed," that was on the Black Album, that's literally he's talking about how he felt like because of his mother's religion, she had cancer, and the type of religion that they believed in was that God would heal them, and it wouldn't be like you couldn't take medicine, right? So his mom ended up passing from a cancer that she probably was survived from. So that's like where a lot of his stuff comes from, and the alcoholism. Plus they lost Cliff and like all of that. Losing a band member or like a really close friend like that, I can relate, because one of the songs on the new album we have is called Silent Mode. And I remember when we were writing this album. It's been 2 years since we like finished the songs. We got to put them out and like record them, but we wrote that song, and I remember it was one of the last songs that I sent my buddy Todd, and he's all, "You guys are really onto something with this one." So after he passed, the first time he played that live, it was at a Red Jumpsuit show, and we that was like our third or fourth song, and two of our friends had passed away, and people had their lights on their phones, and people were clapping. I felt like he was there with us. You know what I mean? And
yeah, what a moment.
Yeah. I mean, losing people like that is it's hard, man, because everybody, like you said, kind of mourns and feels things differently. And I think with me, I tend to get real sad, and then I get real mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
normal. I remember all the different emotions, you go through them.
Yeah. There's seven forms of grieving or whatever. Me and my buddy were just talking about it. I remember when I was a kid and my grandmother passed away from brain cancer. I remember I must have been like 9 or 10, being in the shower, talking to God and telling him, since he took my grandmother, I made him a promise that I would never go in his house and he could never come into mine. And I held on to that until probably close to my 30s.
Dude, that's wild. I share the same story with you. My grandmother was my favorite person in my entire life.
Yep.
And she was the first person who I lost in my life that I was close to. Because I had gone to, like, when I was a kid, some funerals of, like, aunts and uncles that I didn't really know that. Yeah. I didn't really know that well. Like, I had met, like, once or twice. But, like, for the first person to pass away was, like, my favorite person in the world. And that's when I dropped everything. I'm just like, I don't want you in my life. You took my grandmother from me. and I want nothing to do with you. And it
Yep.
took me 15 years to let that go.
To be a kid at that age, man, and have enough conviction to openly resent God, dude, is that's how you know you're hurt, man.
Yeah.
Like, especially because my grandparents were Pentecostal Christians, so they were super Christian, right? My generation didn't really have to go to church or anything like that, but we were always taught as kids. And I was just watching, what is the Aaron Gillespie thing, where he was talking about how he was in a church band and all of the stuff he went through. Us as kids, we were always taught, I mean, like, sins are real. If you do this, you're going to die and you're going to go to hell and this and that. And then turning around and seeing the most important person in my life getting taken away, you know what I mean? What did I do to deserve that? And I, being taught what I was taught and openly resenting God, it's really hard for some people to grasp of a 9 or a 10-year-old having that much conviction, hating somebody. And I think that's what kind of plants a seed in a lot of the mental issues that would later on develop with my issues. Like my mom.
Yeah, me too.
My stepdad, that's another sad story. Like my mom and my stepdad fought a lot about me. My stepdad was on drugs and my mom was always clean, you know what I mean? So they got into an argument because my dad wanted me to grow up like a thug, but I was more like my grandfather. And I remember they finally got into it real bad. My mom had been hiding the fact that he was putting hands on her for a few years. And he came in the day that they split up, and he raised me from like 5 until 15, so 10 years. And he shook my hand. I remember being on my bed playing my Xbox, and he shook my hand and said, "Well, bud, good luck. I'm out of here. Your mom's crazy." And then he left.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm sorry to hear that. Wow.
Yeah. It's life, I guess, man.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I wanted to go back to was, so my birthday is January 12th, and
Okay.
my grandmother, it was weird. She went through this, she was in this very like weird coma state for like 10 days. And all the family was at the house, all the cousins, all the aunts, all the uncles. Like, we just stayed at the house because we were like, what is going on? We don't know when she's passing. And that started on like January 2nd, January 3rd, and it lasted for 10 days. Because I remember a couple months before she passed, I kept telling her about my birthday. I was just about to turn 18. I'm like, Grandma, I'm going to turn 18. Grandma, I'm going to be an adult. Grandma this, Grandma that. And for January 2nd, for her to go into that coma state, leading up, the days leading up to my birthday. And on my birthday, she was there. And I remember like making a promise to her and talking to her. And then she died the very next day. The day after my birthday.
Stayed long enough for your birthday.
She did. And there's many ways to look at that. But for me, for 15 years, when the January 1st came, I just started to feel depressed. I'm like, here we go. My birthday's coming. Oh shit. I hate my birthday. I hate it. And the day after, I hate it. And it's just like, I was in that for a very long time.
My sister just went through that when my grandfather passed. So my grandfather was my best friend. And when I got the call, that was hard, but she got to see it. He woke up that morning and had a cup of coffee and a cigarette. And my mom said something that made him laugh, and that was it. Had a massive heart attack. And it was the day before my sister's birthday, and she watched my mom. I think she broke 3 of his ribs trying to bring him back. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like in my family, I don't know if it's like a curse or what it is, but every turn, one of us goes through something super traumatic that we probably shouldn't have seen. When my grandmother passed, I was at school, and my aunt, my grandfather's sister, picked me up, and she took me. I remember she took me, because we had a house out in Taft, but she, instead of dropping me off at the house in Taft, she took me here to the one in Bakersfield, and it instantly felt weird. And I got in there, and my mom and my stepdad grabbed me, and they took me to the back room that we had there because we were staying there while she was sick. And she told me that my grandmother had passed. And I remember resenting my mom for years because she didn't let me say goodbye. And all my mom
That's
wanted
tough.
to do it.
Yeah, that's tough because that brings me back to my story. I told you the entire like 9 days leading up to this, all the cousins were there, all the aunts, everyone's there. No one left. No one left. We all took days off of school, off of work. We were all together. On my birthday, the night of my birthday, I got extremely sick, and so did my cousins. Everybody who was under the age of 18, and it's wild, got extremely sick and had to leave, had to go home. And then while all the grandkids were gone, that's when she passed. It's almost like she didn't want the grandkids to be there.
So,
it is so wild. 10 straight days not leaving, and then the night you leave.
When I was in the hospital, I remember being in the hospital and talking to my buddy Todd's mom and his fiance. And one of the things that Barbie told me, which was my buddy Todd's fiance, she was all, Todd's not ready to see you yet. And I instantly started getting better. It was crazy, man. I was worried for a little while. I still have nightmares sometimes. They're very few and far between, but that first week back, man, waking up every morning at 6 on the dot and putting my arms up like this because I was just used to them pulling IVs off of me. It was like they would pull blood off of me every day. The doctors were really worried. At one point, they had to aspirate my kidney. They put a needle in me this big. That's a funny story, though, because the guy was all, we're going to take you down here. We're going to aspirate your kidney. The nurse was all, we're going to give you a bunch of Valium. Oh, fuck yeah, I love that shit. So she loads me up with Valium, and I start talking shit to the fucking doctor. And he's all, you're going to feel something. I go, I'm not going to feel shit. And right at that point, he gets me, and it felt like he hit me in my pelvis, man. But yeah, it's a crazy experience. I'll tell you from my experience, they did really good. They did treat me really good. But I don't ever want to go back, man. I remember I had to tell the nurse one time, well, man, can you turn these fluids off, dude? I'm pissing. Like every 30 minutes I have to get up to go to the bathroom. So he was cool. He would turn them off at night and be like, shh, and then come back in and turn them on in the morning. I had a good team. They really took care of me. I walked out one time to get around, and I had to hold on to the IV thing and like walk. And I was walking towards the door to go to the elevators. And that lady's all, sir, we can't let you go down there. I go, you sure? Because if I get past this door, I'm leaving. And she's all, it's exactly why we can't let you go that way. Yeah. So I was there for 6 days, dude. 6 days in the hospital is enough to scare me away from anything. It was I'll tell you what, though. I wasn't as scared as my wife and my mom were. Like, I was in the moment living it, and that's all I could do. But the look on my wife and my mom's face, every day my mom was there. Nobody left me alone. I was never by myself for more than 5 minutes. My wife would go downstairs and get Starbucks for us and come back. And I remember the first night they fought over who was going to stay there. My wife said, I'm not leaving, Mom. And she told my wife, go home and get some rest. I'll stay tonight. And they just slept on that ridiculously hard pull-out thing. When I got home...
All for you, man. All for you.
Yeah, I know. When I got home, dude...
You're loved, man.
Cats came out of the forest, brother. Yeah. I'm telling you, they were all over me. So... Dude,
that there enough is to show you need to be here, man. There's so many people that love you.
In a lot of people that go through this whole thing where they're like, I'm gonna do it. They don't know that. To them, to us, we don't feel like that, but we are. You know what I mean? We're definitely loved.
Yeah. When it comes to my bipolar, I feel like I kind of have the same thought that you did, you know, what you said earlier about your wife and like, I'm surprised you haven't left me yet or whatever. I'm surprised. I mean, I think that all the time because of my episodes and the dumb shit that I do and say, and then I regret, you know, a couple hours later and just the impulsiveness of it all. And when we're in these moments, we only see of like, oh, we're a burden. You know, I'm having this cause on this person and I'm, you know, causing this or, you know, X or Y in their lives. And we just hyper focus on that. But when we step back and if it happens to someone that we love, we don't even think about it. We're just like, no, I'm here with you. I'm taking care of you. So it's kind of, it's a weird mental game that we play when we, how we view ourselves and how we view others.
It's like being narcissistic, but not purposely being that way.
Yeah. Mm.
It's like
Never
a
looked at it
chemically
that way.
imbalanced narcissism.
Yeah. Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Like you're not trying to hurt somebody, your body. It's weird. It's like having emotional Tourette's.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Another cool thing was is that
Emotional. I'm gonna write that down.
emotional Tourette's. You're welcome.
Okay. Well. I feel like you and I could chat all night.
You know what? Yeah.
But we are here today to honor Johnny Craig for your song called Slaves, because you wrote it about your time when you opened up for Slave. Wait, no, that's not right. We are here because of a song that you wrote called Slaves. Why did you choose this one, and what does it mean to you?
So this was off of the second album, and I wrote this guitar riff. I remember I was in the room of the townhouse that I shared with the other guitar player at the time, and I think I was just going into my alcoholism. Like, I was partying real hard at this time. I just got promoted to a higher position. I think we were going out every night. Joey was all fucked up on coke, and I was like drinking a lot. And there was girls and living the rock star life, right? Well, we had this guy who was managing at the time, and he sucked. I really love him. He actually is no longer with us. This guy named Rob, and he was the singer's good friend, right? So when Aaron wrote this song, he was writing about, if I remember right, it was a lot about like the addiction and the mental health problems that he was seeing Rob go through, and about how a lot of us are just like we're victims of a system. You know what I mean? And I thought it hit really good with like some of the lyrics that I sent you on this podcast, because it talks about stuff like a lot of it is based around no matter what we do, we kind of are just slaves. We're like kind of caught in the wheel. We can do our best, but at some point we're shackled to something. And I think being that open on this album for us, after we had come off of trying to be like real angsty, kind of like in your face, like post-hardcore-y, we finally have written a song that was just very, very, like, we took the armor off and you got to see who we really were as people. And me being where I was at that time, and Joey was really bad on drugs. I remember we tried to redo this song not too long ago to see if we could put it back into like a live feed. And these were songs that we wrote right before Joey went into rehab the first time, because he left the band to go into rehab twice, and then he finally came back. So we did it a while without Joey. But that time in our life, we were kind of, I think, the most messed up, and it really kind of hit home. Like when I'm going through stuff, like I'll put that song on in the car when I'm feeling a certain way, and just some of the lyrics he says, talking about the words that are caught at the tip of his tongue, and what's it really mean when all we are is just slaves? Like some of the stuff he says in that makes you really go, well, that's kind of how I feel like mentally. Like I feel like no matter what I do, sometimes I'm swimming in heavy water and I'm just getting pulled down. And that song evokes a lot of feelings on that. You know what I mean? It's just like showing that people can talk about why they feel that way and what it means to us. And
So
I feel,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so what you just said right now actually gave me chills, because you had brought up water.
Yeah.
That is a constant thing that comes up on this podcast, is water and the ocean and waves and just using
Swimming
it
against
for
the tide.
Yeah. I love water. When I lived in Chicago, I lived right by the right by Lake Michigan, and I would just sit there sometimes and just stare at the waves and and I felt at peace. My wife and I, we just got married a couple months ago, and we did this massive. Thank you very much. And one of the places we went to was Greece, and we had taken a boat from Italy to I forget how we got. There was so much going on there. Anyway, well, we ended up in Greece, and there was a boat that we took. Oh yeah, it was a boat from Mykonos to Athens. That's where the boat came in. But I remember just sitting there at the on the boat on a bench, just like looking out in the water and be like, this is life right here. this water. It just looks beautiful. It's endless. There's waves that come and go. There's just something about water, man, that brings me peace. And I think a lot of people feel a connection with water.
It's funny that you bring that up because my buddy Todd, the one that passed away, his favorite place was the beach. We would go to Ventura for Warped Tour, and then we'd always go eat at this place called Andrea's, and he just loved being in the water. One of my favorite memories of this guy, he was my best man at my wedding, and I ended up getting so drunk at the wedding, man, that I was drunk before I got married, and then I was so drunk that I ended up, they had to put me in bed. So my buddy Mike took all my clothes off of me, threw me in bed at about 5 in the morning. I want to say, yeah, I got into the shower and I puked and filled the whole shower up, right? But I was in the shower from 5 to 9 in the shower. And then I finally got up. We went and picked up the venue. I was so hungover. That's one of the reasons why I don't drink like that anymore or ever again. I haven't had a drink in 17 months, 16, 17 months.
Wow, good for you.
Going on 2 years, I'm trying. My sister wants to go to Vegas, so the problem with me is one's too many and 1,000's never enough. So like I'm afraid that if I drink one, I'm gonna fall off the wagon again.
Yep.
But we ended up going to Ventura because he wanted to go. So we never had a honeymoon, but we went to Ventura and we rented this motel on the beach. And I remember me and Todd got up hella early in the morning, and we went into the water.
Early.
Oh man,
Hella. You're definitely from California.
Yeah.
Hella early.
Yeah, we got up hella early, and we got into the water. My wife and his fiance were walking out. Well, because like the rooms come out, and there's this area where you can sit and see the sand and the beach, and we're literally just out there boogie boarding out past the break, and they're like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're all, "Sharks." I'm all, "No way." Todd said there's a net. Todd's all, "Bro, I was fucking with you. There ain't no net out here." So, and then we went downtown and we hung out. So that's one of my favorite memories. He actually flew from Colorado to come to my wedding. I remember I called him and told him I was getting married. He's like, "You're full of shit, dude." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm getting married."
All right, this is Slaves by Moya. Let's break this one down.
Stick to what you know. I'm just an empty shell that would gladly give you the words caught at the tip of my tongue. But what's it what to say when all we are is slaves? Oh, I feel it again. Stunning to see what we had is dead. I would gladly give you the words caught at the tip of my tongue. But what's it what to say when all we are is slaves?
All right, that kind of threw me off a little bit because all those lyrics came so quick.
Yeah.
That was an intro. It was just like you guys wasted no time, and it was like get it out.
So with Aaron, it's funny because Aaron likes to sing. That's his thing. He really likes to sing. So I feel like now in some of our newer music we have faster intros, but for some reason when he was in the studio recording these lyrics, they came out. So we just kind of rolled with it.
They came out that way.
Because we kind of planned it like that. We didn't want to. We probably could have done more at the beginning, but I don't think we wanted to overdo the intro because we were relying on doing like 4 bars and then going into that heavy part.
One thing, I don't think I told you this, but I have not heard this song yet.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I intentionally ask early on what song you guys want to break down because I intentionally don't want to listen to it and have like a real like live reaction and what it means to me in the moment after hearing your personal story behind it. So this is the first for me.
Oh, cool. Well, so okay, so this is kind of like what our niche is when we write music. Like we do like we don't do odd time signatures, but we do odd changes. So like a lot of the times we'll go from slow like this into something heavy, or for something heavy into drastically slower stuff. And we'll put it in a lot of the times as like a bridge or something like that, because we like to have a weird kind of dynamic that throws the listener off.
And that's what it did. That's what it did for me. But let's dive into some of these lyrics there. Stick to what you know. I'm just an empty shell that would gladly give the words caught at the tip of my tongue. But what's worth to say when all we are slaves? Oh, I feel it again, starting to see what we had is dead. I would gladly give you the words caught up at the tip of my tongue, but what it's worth to say when we are all slaves, when all we are is slaves. That's a lot.
I think
just in the very, the first 40 seconds of this track. It's a lot.
So Aaron's really good about painting a picture of how he kind of sees things. So emotionally, Aaron's kind of connected to lyrics. So when he's singing, especially if you ever watch him live, a lot of the times he has his eyes closed. And I feel like he's playing these stories in his head as the music's going on. So Aaron likes to... We have another song on this album that's actually called Ex Machina that's about artificial intelligence. And he likes to play with words and like kind of paint a picture and still leave it kind of ambiguous to how you're going to feel about it while still touching base on it. And I think a lot of it at that time was he was really worried about his friend. His friend ended up actually passing away. I believe he had an overdose and then died in the hospital. And I think a lot of it was just him feeling like he was caught in a cog, like being a cog in a machine, just kind of stuck in this loop. And what are these words that I have to give you? What are they worth to say if all we are is slaves? So like, what's the point in the emotion behind it? Like, why am I still doing all of this stuff? And at that time in our lives,
asking yourself why is a lot harder than a lot of people think.
I think that's the biggest thing. And more talking to Aaron nowadays about how he feels about stuff and like how he talks about religion, and then how he has been kind of getting through his grief when his mom passed away. A lot of the lyrics in this song still kind of like resonate with us because of how he shows so much emotion around the words he says. Like he picks specific words to kind of like not be straightforward and like maybe use an innuendo, but also kind of tell a more vivid, like fluent, heartfelt story.
Yeah, so like so the listeners can kind of take their own interpretation without taking away the meaning of the song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was going to release a video for this like in 2020. I was working on something that had to do with the pandemic and being a slave to the pandemic. But even listening to the words on, because that could be another way that I did it. But the emotional connection that he has behind what he's saying, especially after being there after he lost his mom and being with him on that, I think he was just really emotionally tied to Robert, and that was his friend, and he was worried about him, and this was his outlet on how he could talk his way through what he was feeling, like using the music as a sort of therapy.
Where this takes me is somewhere completely different, and this is the beauty of music. So stick to what you know. Just that line alone, I think we can take that in many different ways. So for example, I am going through kind of a weird like career path right now where I'm not really sure which path to take. I had worked in like film and TV for 10 years, and I realized that wasn't me.
Okay.
I didn't like the politics behind it. A lot of just lack of empathy, lack of sympathy. And to me, work has never been my highest priority. And a lot of people see it that way. And I think my lifestyle, the way that I view the world and life and my own personal life and my relationships did not vibe well with the lifestyle of working in entertainment industry. At least in that aspect, and in the way that I was working in it. And I'm kind of struggling with work right now, trying to find something, and I find myself questioning, should I just go back to that? I have 10 years experience, I have all these things on my resume, but none of those jobs made me happy. But it's what I know. It's what I've I'm just used to. And so stick to what you know. I'm just an empty shell that would gladly give the words caught the tip of my tongue. There's been times when I just want to go full out. Fuck you guys.
Yep.
Fuck this job. I'm out. I quit. To say the words when we are all slaves. Like I feel, and that's kind of how I feel about corporate America, is that we were all just slaves to this system of Monday through Friday. You have two days with your family a week, but you're exhausted on those 2 days from the 5 days a week that you're working full time. And then the finances are, things are just so expensive right now. People can't afford so many things. And then, and so then you have to ask permission to take time off, to take your family on a weekend or a couple day vacation. It is just like all these things that make you feel like you're not even human. It's like
being stuck in the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. And being a slave to it all because it's so normal, which is weird. And so when I hear in the first place that this first verse takes me is to what I'm currently going through with my job and feelings on corporate America.
I can see that. I can actually relate with you on that right now. I've been doing my job for 7 going on 8 years now, and recently I'm doing the same thing where I'm like, do I just pull the whole half-baked thing where I'm a fuck you, you're cool, I'm out? Or do I just stick to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what having this outlet with music helps with when I start feeling like that.
Yep. Instead of taking it out on the alcohol or drugs or, showing anger towards your wife or your cat, it's like, no, let me channel this into the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's keep listening. I'm excited to hear more.
Okay. If
what we have is this moment, take it in, gasping for our lives, found freedom and letting go of what we have.
It's true.
It's true. See the words that make
me shatter.
Make me shatter as you walk away. Just say the words.
Yeah, I fucked that up. My bad.
All good. But yeah, if all we have is this moment, that's a crazy thing to sit on and think about.
Especially with him, because we've been talking about it a lot lately, and he's going through this thing right now with his mom where I feel like his mom passing has got him really going, life's kind of short, and he's starting to realize, because he's worried about his dad and stuff like that all we have is kind of like one moment, you know what I mean? It's very Eminem. You got one shot.
Yeah.
I think
I love
the
Eminem.
biggest misconception about life is people always say YOLO because you only live once, but you live every day, you only die once. And
it's more Yodo,
I think,
is what you're saying.
Yeah, Yodo. Yeah, Yodo for sure. He's strong with the force. The biggest thing with life for me, man, is that I feel like I get stuck in that big loop sometimes, and I let life pass me by as I'm stuck wondering. I'm more worried about what's going to happen to me than what's happening right now, that I'm missing on what's happening right now.
Absolutely. I feel it's so common for an emotion. We're always analyzing why we did what we did in the past and or soaking it in or reliving some of the hurt and the losses that we have. And then we look at those losses, and then we're like, how are we going to get through life now? How am I going to do this? And so it automatically goes from the past to the future. There's a lot of times there's no middle ground with us, huh?
No, it's literally moving forward at supersonic speed, but being stuck in the same place. I was telling somebody the other day, I feel like I laid my head down at 23 and woke up and I'm 36. Like, and then the alcohol and the partying, man, I don't really remember. I remember some of the good things, but like for me to have a vivid memory from 20, I would say 26 to like 29, 30 is still kind of like a shot, man. I mean, I remember some things, but not like vividly.
Do you find yourself living more in the moment these days?
I try to, for like, especially after some stuff that I've been going through recently. I remember I had a conversation as we were driving to go do something before the podcast today, and I told her I was going to make her a promise that I was going to start focusing more on right now and then worrying about stuff less. That way I kind of just take it on how it is. Sometimes I think you just have to take life on the chin and then let things be, because if you can't control them, there's not much you can do. And I think that's the biggest problem with me, is if I'm not in control of a situation and I don't know. I think that's also what scares me about death, is that I don't know what's going to happen after. You know what I mean? I'm hoping it's not the Death Cab for Cutie song, dude. I'm not trying to follow someone into the dark. I need a nightlight, man. That shit's scary. It's one of those situations, man. I don't know how I would. I think I'm more afraid of the anxiety leading up to dying than I am actually dying, if that makes any sense. Like, we all think we're afraid of something. I think we're not afraid of that thing. We're afraid of the anxiety that leads up to that thing, because you can't feel, you just feel the anxiety. That's what you know. That's what scares you.
And it's weird because those feelings of anxiety and panic and focusing too much on that cause you problems in that moment. High blood pressure, wanting to drink, and to mask these feelings of fear and all these different things. But it's like you're actively doing what you are worried about in that moment, and if you can let it go, that's the best thing in that moment. It's a weird thing we do mentally. It is wild. It is wild.
The crazier thing is when you try to explain it to people that have never had to go through it.
Right. Then you just sound like you're crazy.
Yep. Well, I mean, everybody's
but you're not
crazy. It just depends.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In disbelief, this is happening. Finding comfort in this guilty case. Gladly give you the words, count at the tip of my tongue. But what's it what to say when all we are is slaves? Feeling this happiness, even if it's just for a while. Would gladly give you the words, count at the tip of my tongue. But what's it what to say when all we are is slaves?
I really like the way that the words are delivered. The da 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 da, and then it slows down and it goes da 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 again. It's unique. I like it. It definitely does take me back to like Circa Survive days and like early 2000s, and just the way that it's delivered.
Yeah, and I also like his choice of words, like in disbelief, this is happening. Find color in this communique. Like he's
in
talking
disbelief.
About, well, and then finding color in this communique, instead of just, he's talking about like having a conversation with somebody, and then always leading back. But what's the words to say when all we are is slaves? Like living.
Yeah, what does it all mean? What do these words even mean right now?
Well, even then, he even touches base on the living this happiness, even if it's just for a little while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like, weird. That actually took me to that made me sad what you just said right now, because dealing with bipolar and these mood swings, even when I'm happy, I can't fully be happy. because I know that the feeling is just temporary. And even if I have a great day, even if everything goes my way, something can still happen where I'm someone else.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean, man. And it's like he says, like finding happiness for just a little while. It's like you have to learn you can't have all the cake, but you can have little pieces of it here and there.
It gets tiring though, you know? When
you
are like for me, for example, yes, there's days when I am happy and I am just so fucking happy. I am outside, I'm running, I'm exercising, I'm reading, doing all these things, and I'm just so happy that I'm happy. But when I start to think about, well, what's tonight going to bring? What's tomorrow morning going to bring? What mood am I going to be in then? It takes me out of that moment. But if I could just be there when it's there, I would enjoy it a little bit more. But but going back to it, it's exhausting where it's like one day I'm happy, the next day I'm not, the next day I'm happy, the next day I'm pissed. And so to live in the moment and be in that emotion, sometimes it's just fucking tiring, man.
I feel you. All day today, I've had stuff I need to worry about. Like I'm having an issue with like my car and like some stuff going on at work and life, and I'm just like, and every day off, I'm always just mad or pissed off, and I feel like I don't have enough time in the day. But today, I told myself, fucking oh well. And I didn't think about any of it. And I got my stuff from the store, and I started meal prepping before I got this. I got ready for the interview. And, man, this has probably been the best day that I've had in a while. And I think nice. I kind of have to go into it like that. It's just fuck it, man.
Yeah.
Fuck it. If the house burns down, the fucking house burns down.
Yeah. I was just watching, my wife and I were binge watching the show This Is Us.
Okay.
And I don't know if you ever watched it, but I don't really want to ruin things. It doesn't really ruin too much, but there's an episode where their house burns down, and it's their childhood. It's their childhood house. But the parents, the way they looked at it was, our kids are okay. It's just a house. It's just a house.
And it's crazy because sometimes I wish I could let go of things, but then I feel like with me, the way my brain works is that I try to let go of it, and I feel like my brain is physically grasping for that thought again. It wants that thought again, and wants that thought again, and wants that thought again. And if I don't think about it, it gets worse and worse and worse until finally it dissipates. It's just getting through that first round of this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. Okay, I forgot what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, your brain is just so used to a certain feeling that when it feels anything else, even when it's positive, it's still a strange feeling. It's not normal. It's not comfortable.
I feel like if I feel happy, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Let's keep listening. All right. We're going to stop it one more time and break down those lyrics, and then we'll write the song out. But the thing that stood out to me that hit heavy, the line was, the freedom to let go.
Oh, yeah.
That is an
And
extremely
freedom-
hard thing to do, just to let go of something.
Well, yeah, because the next line he says is, if what we have is true, the moments that make us shatter. So he's literally talking about letting go of stuff, and like, these are the moments that make us shatter. Being able to take what it is that is bothering us and just let it go. You
It's
know what I
almost
mean?
like having chains wrapped in, being tied up and not being able to leave and not being able to let go. And that is a perfect example of a slave. Slave to whatever.
Yeah.
You just feel like you're tied down, but if you can just unlock it some way, if you can just let go of those things that are holding you down, you can be much more free.
And that kind of goes back to what we're talking about, is being able to let those things go and just be free. But we're so used to being chained up and not being able to enjoy things, man. Like, this song hits so many points when it comes to like how I feel about my mental health and things that I'm going through, like being able to try to walk away from something that I know I have an issue with, but for some reason the best thing for me to do is to walk away, and knowing that, but my mind and my body physically making me want to go back and relive that for some reason.
A famous line from Chester Bennington is, "I want to let go, but there's comfort in the panic."
Yeah. 100%. It's like, remember how I told you that sometimes I feel like I have to live on the edge of complete fucking just gone and being okay?
Yeah.
I feel like it's because there's comfort there.
Yeah. And I almost feel you can hear the emotions while he's singing it.
There's a little anguish in his voice.
Yeah, there is.
That. Like,
there is.
He's like trying to invoke his feeling. Like, this song is definitely got some sadness behind it.
Embrace the pain that makes us kill you. Or
Makes us kill, yeah.
Makes us kill. Okay, I was just reading ahead. Okay, embrace the pain. Yeah, embrace the pain that makes you. Embrace the pain that makes us kill.
Ooh. Like how I killed those lyrics.
But embracing it, that doesn't sound like a good place to be when you embrace the pain. It almost seems like the opposite of what the song's about.
I think a lot of it is running into that part where you're like, hey, I was talking to him about that, and when I was telling him about the podcast, and on that lyric, he was telling me, man, there's so much in me that I feel that can be bad, and sometimes I want to embrace that, but I know I shouldn't.
Right. It's a cycle. I mean? It's the continuous cycle, and that's what this song kind of, to me, the lyrics kind of represent, is a cycle. We know what we need to do. We're gasping for our lives, find that freedom. We want to let go. But then there's a part of us that just embraces it because it's the pain that we feel. It's the comfort. We don't know who we are if we're not this. And I think a lot of that has to do with just identity and wanting to feel like you know who you are and that you're in control of who you are, even if it's bad. So when you're in this place of just not knowing who you are, a whole different feeling, like you just don't feel like you are you.
No. And I can agree with you 100% on that. My wife tells me that all the time. She goes, Shane, I think that you like to worry about things.
Yeah.
And I don't. I absolutely hate it. But if I'm not worried about something, today, all day long, in the back of my head is, when's the other foot going to drop? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And I have had to all day today tell myself, you know what? I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. But like you said,
that's not living in the moment.
No, but still trying to tell yourself, I'm not going to think about it. It gets exhausting after a while.
Yeah.
But this is me living in the moment right now.
Yeah, me too. Let's keep listening.
Yeah.
Embrace the pain.
Well, that was Slaves from Moya. You know, listening to that last part, the standout for me is you can leave, but you're never gone.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling him about that too because I called him and I'm like, Aaron, how you been feeling, man? And this was right after his mom passed away. He's like, Shane, honestly, it's crazy because I woke up this morning, I look in her room and the light's on. He's like, I didn't turn the light on. And I feel like anybody that's been emotionally connected to somebody like that has those kind of interactions after they're gone. At least like within the first few days. Like when my grandfather passed away, a couple months later, I'm in court trying to get custody of my daughter, and I remember just feeling the first time ever being in that courtroom, feeling like I didn't have anything to worry about, and then coming out on top and getting everything that I wanted. And it was like he was there with me, being in the hospital and Todd being there. Even science shows that once, like, we're a form of energy, once we pass on, the energy's still around. You know what I mean? I feel like we don't necessarily 100% go anywhere. So you leave, but you're never gone. That, and it can also be perceived that, like, I used to tell people all the time that I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of what I'm remembered for. You know what I mean? As long as people are talking about you and your name is still being brought up and people are talking about the things that you've done in your life, you're never really gone. You're still here. It's only when people no longer talk about you that you're truly gone.
Why is that something that worries you?
Because I always wanted to be famous. Like, that's my biggest letdown. But at the end of the day, my favorite stories to tell are the people that I remember the most. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like I have to keep telling people those stories so those people are remembered. And I want people to do the same thing for me. You know what I mean? I don't even care what story it is. Like, I was at a buddy's funeral. I love this guy. Super close. I was at his funeral, and the only funeral I've ever been at where all of his exes were there, all of his ex-wives were there with their kids. Like, they all got along. And I'm sitting there telling his story about his vasectomy at his funeral. So, and that's a funny story because he was telling me, and Rogers is always the cool guy. He'd go, Bubba, let me tell you something. He's all, the doctor told me what I was supposed to do, and then he put it on a note. I read the note, but I didn't read it right. I'm on, what happened? He goes, the note told me to ice my boys for 2 hours a day for 5 days. I thought it said ice them for 5 hours a day for 2 days. He's all, on the 5th day, my shit was so swollen. And I'm telling that to them at the funeral, right? Yeah. And then he was all, I go, then we were practicing for his wedding because I played his wedding with him, right? We did some Journey covers and stuff like that. And in between playing, because he was a drummer, in between playing the set, he used to have to get up and he would have to do the clack, you know, where he rocks his boys back and forth because he had the vasectomy and he's a little older, right? Well, I'm in the middle of this funeral telling the story, doing his clack for him, and I'm up there clacking at the funeral talking about his vasectomy, dude. And I know Rogers is looking down laughing at that. I had everybody rolling. And yeah, man.
That's the best way to celebrate someone's life. It's just remembering those funny little moments. You know, it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't a trip that was taken. It wasn't anything massive. It was just a little funny story that you guys had. You know, and in life, it's the little things that matter the most.
Before my buddy Todd died, I remember we had a conversation and he told me, Shane, I've had friends that I've had longer than I've known you. And the reason that you're my best friend is because you make me laugh. Doesn't matter what it is, you always make me laugh. And I'm laying on the couch at 2 a.m. because I went to the gym and I got my sugar real low and I passed out. Well, I woke up to a phone call because at this point he was in the hospital. We had already found out he had cancer. He only knew for a week. He had lymphoma. And it was the night before we were supposed to find out what, like, the plan of action was going to be, what his diagnosis was, and what we were looking for him. Well, we were expecting like a full recovery. You know what I mean? We just knew it was going to be rough. I actually talked to him the day before that, called him and told him, hey dude, I just wanted to tell you I love you. And he told me, Shane, I love you too. He's all, but if you could do me a favor, he's all, if we can keep these I love you, I'm worried about you phone calls to once a week, I'd appreciate it. I'm just really tired, man. I was like, yeah, dude, not a problem. Get some rest and I'll talk to you the next day. Well, that night, Barbie called me at 2 in the morning and I answered the phone and she told me that we had lost Todd. And I remember telling her, Barbie, what do you mean we lost Todd? Where the fuck's Todd at? And she goes, Shane, Todd died. He passed away. And my wife was in the bedroom and I was in the living room. And she could hear me screaming from the living room down the hallway. And she told me, she goes, Shane, Todd, she goes, I wanted to tell you this personally, but Todd never talked about you like you were his friend. He always told me that you were his brother. And that shit really, to this day, it still kind of messes with me. Like, especially like with my mental stuff. Like, I remember asking my wife when everything went kind of bad with me, and she said when Todd died, it got real rough. So, but I'll be all right. You know what I mean? I know he wouldn't want me to be as upset as I am. It's funny
how long ago was that?
Oh, 2 years ago?
Okay.
Just barely 2 years ago. He didn't even make it to 40.
It sounds like you've gone through a lot of like loss in your life, losing just really important people to you. And it seems like that's what's motivating you. That's what keeps you
I feel like I have to
now, and keeping everybody proud and not wanting to let people down. And because you've said multiple times, you know, about people you've lost, about, you know, they wouldn't want this, or making somebody feel a certain way. You carry this with you, man. Yeah,
it's real heavy on my shoulders. I feel like my mom always said I never met a stranger, and I feel with me, man, it's weird. I don't even like Fast and the Furious, but I'm very Dominic and Toretto, and like family's family, and people that I'm like, if I always tell people, if I break bread with you, then I consider you family. Like if I eat with you, if I've been to your house, you know what I mean? And I feel like I've got so much love for the people in my life that I don't like change, dude. Change scares me. So if like I lose somebody that I care about, it really, really hurts. Especially this year. I mean, not even it's the last 4 years I've lost some key people in my life. My grandfather passed. My adopted mom passed. Rogers passed. My buddy Todd passed. My uncle passed. My aunt passed.
That's a lot to hold on to.
My cousin just found out that he had they just removed 2 brain tumors on him. And it's been a crazy year. Then Aaron's mom passed and Joey's mom passed. I knew both of them. Like I used to eat with Joe, like go over to Joey's mom's house all the time. They cook me food, you know what I mean? It's just been one of those years where
I'm gonna say something and I'm gonna ask you a question. And if it's too personal of a thing, and if it's too deep, we can just move on from it. But one observation,
you're good.
One observation that I have made is the people that are close to you mean everything to you. And you hold on to them as if they're family. And even when they pass, you hold on to them because you don't want to let go of them. Do you think that this is all because of how your father left you at a young age?
I think it could be
and
a
like
little
the
bit of
feeling
that.
of like abandonment and that someone's leaving you and you have no control over it.
I definitely think there's a link to my father because my real dad dipped and so did my stepdad. I think a lot of it's also tied back to my grandmother when she passed away, like being that young and then her leaving and like everything.
So these past traumas has really affected your life moving forward.
I mean, there's always a clock with me, you know what I mean? I feel like there's never enough time in the day because I'm always worried about there's never a tomorrow, you know what I mean? And then waking up every day and starting over at night, too, when I was like really, really deep into it. I remember I ended up taking a leave of work and went on like a 3-month mental leave because I got real high and got into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror and noticed I had some wrinkles and instantly lost it because I knew I was getting older. And then I went down this morbid reality of I'm going to die, my mom's going to die, my sisters are going to die, my wife's going to die, and there's nothing I can do to change it. And at one point, my wife came home and I was on the couch in a fetal position crying. I was just stuck. And I never got right after that. Not 100%. And then the whole cancer thing. The last 6 years have just been like a really bad mental. Literally, I've been on a mental D&D quest, bro, where I feel like I run into another monster every time I defeat one. Like I rolled the wrong amount of dice or something. And then I get over it, and then I find another thing. I think a lot of it's linked back to the hyperfixation. But losing people and like massive changes in my life like really messed me up. I feel like everything should be the same forever. And
I think a key part of this is not being able to accept it.
Yeah.
You know, the loss of this person, the fact that you were going to die one day, the fact that your wife is going to be gone one day. It's just it sounds like you are resenting the fact of the acceptance that this is a real thing and you want to do something about it, but you literally can't.
Yeah.
You have no control over it.
No.
And it doesn't sound like you accept it either. Like you're trying to fight it, but it's a battle you're not going to win. Unfortunately, you know?
That's the thing. But to me, I'm a fighter, you know what I mean? And I don't think that I'm going to live forever. And I tell my wife that all the time. She goes, matter of fact, our buddy Jose, who's our maintenance guy, because my wife runs an apartment complex, he came up today and we were talking about my diabetes. And like when I first found out I was diabetic, I had a really high A1C. I was at like a 10.8, which means I was almost in a coma. At least that's what the doctor said. I know people that have been higher than that, and people are going to say that. But like 10 point, I was literally starting to like, my hand was falling asleep. I was peeing a lot, had super dry mouth. Like I had it all. And I dropped it down to a 5.7. And I was talking to him today. I'm like, when you check your sugars are supposed to be anywhere from like 95 to no higher than 126 if you're not on medication. And I woke up today at 88. And he's all, bro, you're perfect. And to me, it's not good enough because being diabetic means that my life expectancy is shorter than the average human, right? And I can't do that. I can't. And a lot of that, the health stuff is crazy, dude. I don't do artificial colors. I don't do, I very seldom do I do artificial sweeteners, but sometimes I will, depending on what it is. I'm super picky on the oils that I cook with. Everything's organic. And that's another rabbit hole. I think I jump from one extreme to the next. And I was telling my wife, I have to have like a my brain has to go through like a shutdown mechanism. Like it has to cycle through, like I'm shutting down the foundry before I'm okay with something. Like I have to get through the process.
I know that feeling.
And sometimes some things takes a little longer. Sometimes give me a week and I'm good. I cook with only stainless steel pans, bro. I can't do Teflon. I don't. It's nuts. I don't do.
There's nothing weird with that, though. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you have to adapt to certain atmospheres and environments once you have things, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's normal for us to feel these things.
I feel like people that don't talk about it though, and then don't have an advocate, they feel weird about it themselves. And I feel like I like to talk about it because I have people at work that tell me all the time, they're like, don't give that to him because it's got red dye 40 in it. I'm all, no, don't give that to me. Please don't give that to me. And they're like, laugh, right? But we're close. And then they know better. Like they did a potluck and they're like, everybody can have food, but Shane won't eat. I'm all, no, I'm good. I'll eat. I bring food.
Yeah. I know the feeling of that. I'm vegan, so everywhere I go, I have an issue with my food diet too.
yeah. Well, see, it's weird because I thought about my problem is I thought about doing vegan for a while, but I'm like on a beef kick real bad right now. Sorry, but I'm like on a beef kick real bad right now. But I did chicken for a long time. My problem is that as a cook, my palate is open to anything, right? I just really, really watch what I put in my body. Finding out that I was type 2 diabetic at like 31 really fucked me up. So now I just do whatever.
You should look into the health benefits of a vegan diet, even if it's just temporary. I think I honestly think if you take a look at it, you'll be surprised on how much your diet affects your health.
So I was actually I was fasting. So I was eating once a day, but I was only eating once every 24 hours. I did that for like 2 months, right? Because I believe in putting your body through autophagy.
Me too. I just got done with the fast a couple days ago. I do it too.
So I ended up dumping a bunch of weight again. So I bulked up and then I dumped my weight again because I do cardio on top of that because I would bring my blood sugar down.
You run?
So I do a lot of treadmill or a lot of Stairmaster. I normally do like an incline at 15 and then I'll go to like 6.1, 6.2 for I don't know, the first 100 or the first 100 calories, and then I'll bump it down to like 5 and then I'll go the whole night. I did an hour last night, so I did 1,399 calories before bed.
How did you feel mentally after that?
I always feel great after a really good
cardio
session, man.
I do.
I feel like I'm clear. My head's good.
Yeah. I started running for my mental health, and now I'm running marathons, and now I'm kind of addicted to it.
So I've been thinking about getting into it because I can power walk. I can do 4 miles in an hour, right? Just walking up 15% incline. You know what I mean?
Just take it slow. There's no rush to get to a certain time or a certain mile. Just take it slow.
My problem is that I got into sprinting again because I wanted to try to drop my sugar down drastically. The first day was okay. The second day, I felt like I was kicking iron soccer balls. And the third day, I went to run, and the muscle that's on your thigh, right below your butt cheek, cramped so bad that I almost fell. I was on, you know what? I'm going to take a break.
Well, it sounds like all you need are some compression shorts.
Yeah. Or just do it more frequently.
Yeah, there you go. Stretch the areas you know are going to feel a little sore. Like I said, I'm a marathon runner, and so I've gone through every single pain imaginable in all areas of my body from running and the distance that I do. And I've done a lot of research on like how to pinpoint certain areas when you're doing certain things. And honestly, compression, really anything, sleeves, shorts, shirts, socks, are such a huge help, man.
I might pick some of those up because I feel like when I take a couple days off of cardio and I just go into lifting, I feel like as soon as I go back, I'm doing such crazy amounts of cardio on the treadmill that I get like shin splints, dude. The front of my shin.
Me too. I get shin splints all the time. And then it's rice. So what is it? Rest, ice. I forget what the C stands for, and then E is elevate.
Oh, okay.
Is it compress? See, I forget which one, but yeah, there's all kinds of different things you can look at and help guide you through any type of soreness and running and compression in certain areas. You can do it, man.
I love cardio because I feel like I'm flush after I'm done, man. I used to weigh 250 pounds. I'm about $160 right now.
Wow. I was overweight. I was not that much, but I was overweight. I was over 200 pounds at once, and then I dropped 40 within a year. Cardio, there's something about cardio, man. You could just that physical act of just getting it out. And boxing for me is a big one. I love just putting a pair of gloves on and just hitting something as hard as I can.
Well, see, like I said before, I'm a bit of an ex-pothead, so if I can drop my sugar down low enough, so I get a bit of a head change. So I'll drop it down from and I'm crazy. One time I ate at Fragotti's and my sugar was high. I was at like a 200, and I went from 200 down to 120 in 30 minutes because of cardio. So that's a lot. Like, you're dropping so much. I try to do anywhere from 2 to 4 miles every night before bed, and then I mix that with lifting.
Good for you. Wow, shit, yeah. Good for you. Well, the connection there between the cardio, the exercising, trying to be in the moment, eating healthier, and having positive outlooks on the future and the moment. And there was one more thing. Making music.
Yeah.
It all sounds like you know what makes you feel good. You know, when I do this, I feel this way. But when I do this, I feel this way. And I think if there is a big part of you that can just accept certain things, dude, your life will change.
I think that's what I'm trying to work on moving forward. So
acceptance therapy. Look into that.
You know what actually helps a lot, and I'm gonna do that. But honestly, watching anime, like if I'm having, especially if I'm doing cardio, I put anime on and I'll run through season to season. I'm a big shonen person, so I like the underdog that becomes like the superpowered character. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the story's in it. You know what I mean? If I'm like having a bad day, like right now, the one I'm watching right now is Fire Force, right? So there's like a camaraderie between everybody that's part of like that team. I'm a huge One Piece fan. Like my whole studio is One Piece. I actually got to meet the American voice actor for Katakuri. I dressed up as Luffy for Halloween. Like I find a lot of solace in that because I can relate with the characters so much. You know what I mean? So that's like another outlet for me. If for some reason I'm having a day where I'm just like super burnout, like recently writing new stuff has just got me. I picked up drums because I had to put the guitar down for a while. I'm just like a little burnout from writing and then being stressed and not having any new material. So I pick up drums. Well, I started watching more anime and like picking up some of my other hobbies. I feel like I have to do a reset. There's times where I'm on it and I'm like a machine. I can kick out 10 songs, like full-fledged songs that just need other people to put parts on, probably in a week and a half. And then I'll have to take like a break in between because I'm just like, I've dumped every idea and now I need to build it back up, or I'll have to switch from the electric to the acoustic.
What do you think about meditation? What's your thought on that?
I'm down for it. Honestly, I do a lot. I do it vaguely while I'm in the shower because I like to let the water run over my head. And it helps me kind of stays in. If I'm at work and I'm like on my lunch, I like to put in like, I found this channel. It's all make you fall asleep in 2 minutes, right, on Spotify. And it's just like real, like relaxing, calming meditation music. What I want to kind of do, I don't know if I want to do the DMT portion of it because I think that would fucking freak me out. But I want to do, they got a couple chambers like in LA where they put you in. It's like a deprivation chamber with water and lights. I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be pretty cool. You know what I mean?
What I recommend you do is, since you sound like you have a lot of outlets, so there's gotta be one for kind of whatever situation you're in. And I know that sounds confusing. So what the way that I'm visualizing it is like a piece of paper. Write down your outlets. Like literally get a pen and paper. I'm writing all day long because I love just the art of writing it and getting it out that way instead of typing it on my phone. What I would do if I were you, because I do this, write down all your outlets, all of them, all the positive ones, the running, the cardio, the music, the meditation, this or that, and pin it on your wall. And when you are going through shit, which one of these things, I know these things make me feel better, but I might not be in the mood to run right now, or I might not be in the mood to write music right now. But which one of these things that make me feel good can I do right now?
That's actually a really good idea. I'm going to have to do that. Another one that it's a little more archaic. Another one I used when I was a kid that helps out is like when I'm trying to break my hyperfixation. If I get like a hair tie or like a little rubber band on my wrist, and I notice that I'm in something, if I snap it, it'll make me pop out of it.
I've got my fidget spinner upstairs somewhere.
Those are cool, man. Yeah. I feel like I feel like my guitar's my fidget spinner now.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, man. I mean, there's so much you can do, and you obviously are such a very strong person, going through all that loss and holding on to it. Not easy, man. I mean, I held the loss of my grandmother for 15 years, and that was enough for me. That almost took me down a couple times.
Thanks for sharing with that with me, by the way. It's nice to know when people have gone through similar things that you have gone through. You know what I mean? And
so
then
I can't even imagine adding 5 or 6 more people to that list and just having to live with it and deal with it. It's not an easy thing to do, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too is my mom tells me all the time that I need to give it away to the Lord, and I feel like I do in my own way, but I also don't feel like I'm gonna be like a hypocrite, you know, and ask.
I don't feel you can give it away until you've accepted it, though, because it's still there with you. Until you accept it, you can't let go of it until you've accepted it.
I think that's another thing, and my mom tells me that too. I haven't fully accepted the loss of my buddy Todd, and
well, there you go. You have to dive deeper into that one. Write it out, man.
I actually, my plan this year for my birthday is to go to Japan, and we had talked about doing that before he passed, and I've got at least I feel like it's a kilo worth of his ashes in the bedroom. So his fiance sent me some of his ashes, but she bagged him up like he was bricks of cocaine and put him in a Gibson bag and sent him in the mail to me. And I've got a bunch of them for friends that they need to come by and pick him up. But he literally is chilling. I know he's having a good time because Gibson was like his favorite guitar brand. So he's chilling in a Gibson bag right next to the bed. You know,
no better place to be.
No,
in a Gibson.
Yeah. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna grab a picture of him. Give me 1 second.
I do it.
Here's Todd in the Gibson bag. But yeah, dude. So he dressed up for Halloween. I remember that year. But this was him at the wedding. And then I got a funny picture of him in high school. I only have to show this one. And this will be before I met the dude. So yeah, it's crazy. He used to have this plaque for being in football that I kept at the house. They try to throw it away. I'm all, dude, you can't throw that away. That's important. And Todd's all, yeah, Shane, you can keep that. So if I die before you, at least you have it. And he fucking died.
I know acceptance is a hard word, but even just acknowledging the fact that these people are gone is part of the acceptance process. So the more you say it, the more you talk about it, the more it just kind of gets in your head that, like, yeah, this is reality. And then that kind of helps you put things into perspective, and acceptance kind of comes naturally. Like if someone's like, it's hard to sit down and just be like, oh, I have to learn to accept this. And how do I do that? I mean, it comes with, there's so many layers to that. And one of them is just the acknowledgement that it happened and talking about it.
I always tell people that it doesn't get any easier. It just becomes more normal. And the part that sucks the most is when it becomes more normal. I feel like, yeah, I miss him, but I am more desensitized to it because if time goes on, it becomes more normal that he's not here. And I feel at times I'm mad at myself for feeling that way because I feel like it's like forgetting him some way. But I don't think I ever really forget him. I
mean, you literally have him right there with you.
Yeah.
There's no way you can forget him. You got a handful of photos there. You're not going to forget him.
Oh yeah.
He wouldn't want you. He wouldn't want you to carry this pain with you.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that's the most important thing is, yeah, we want to hold on to it. We don't want to forget we this, we that, I that. But what do they want? What would they want?
You know, and when you sit down and you actually think about that, that's when you really start kind of realizing, hey, you know, like I said earlier, he wouldn't want this. He wouldn't want me all sad. You know what I mean? But
let it out in the music.
Yeah. Matter of fact, so when he passed, he left a bunch of his music equipment around, and his fiance sent me I actually have his quad cortex and his interface hooked up. So when I record, I play through his stuff, and when we play live shows, I have a lot of his rigs and stuff on the quad cortex.
Cool.
So
Cool.
we also have Todd picks. So she went and got his thumbprint printed into one of these. So me, the guitar player, have one. I think the singer has a couple of them.
So just take away that mindset of forgetting him, because it seems like that's, even if you tried, that would be impossible.
Yeah, I guess you're right, man. And then it's funny because like I have his ashes. I think what I might do some with his, but I told my wife if I go before she does, I want them to I want to be cremated, and I want them to put my ashes in a guitar lacquer and refinish one of my guitars and give it to the kids. But it's underneath the pretense that you don't put me up, you have to play me. Like I want the guitar to be played. Like I want pieces of it on stage. Like don't feel bad if you drop it. Like it's fine, kind of thing. You know, but play the hell out of it. Yeah. And I think having that mindset just shows how much like music really means to somebody. I mean, Lemmy is in one of James Hetfield's tattoos. You know what I mean? He ended up getting like a vial of his blood. He put it in his tattoo ink, or it was like the blood.
I didn't know that.
I saw like a thing on it. Yeah, They all got like little bullet vials of like his ashes or something, and James Hetfield has them. I think it's on the spade on his finger.
Well, you have your friend's ashes, and
I don't know if I can do that.
Maybe there's maybe not with a tattoo or anything like that, but I think like a physical act of letting go is a way of letting go. Maybe spread a little bit of them somewhere.
Actually, the plan is to take some of these when I go to Japan for my birthday this year, and then I'm going to dump them over there.
That is your moment to let this go, man.
Yeah, I have to do it. We were planning on going. Yeah.
You have to let him go.
I'll do it at one of the massage parlors there. He'll get a kick out of it.
Go to Super Mario World and go ride the little carts and have them there.
That'd be funny, man.
Well, Shane, this has been a rough one. We've talked about a lot, and I have zero doubt that you're going to be able to pull through this. But I do think you should look into acceptance therapy. You should write down all the things that make you feel good, so there's something there at any emotion, any level, anything. I think you know what you need to do, but it's hard to do it.
You know what? But it's cool because talking with people like you makes things like that easier. You know what I mean? Talking to people that have been there and been through it and have had multiple conversations with people that are going through it. I'm just glad to know that there's an outlet for people that are going through the same things that we're going through and listening to the same music that we're going to.
Right.
And have things to say. Oh, before you did say you had questions about the Norma Jean show, though.
You actually kind of answered all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, you answered. It wasn't going to be a big thing. I was just going to ask how it was playing with them, but you're already like, it was a big show. A lot of people came out. They were great guys, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, no, they were cool. I mean, the best thing about the show is that they even gave shout-outs to all the local bands. So it was really cool. And I was stoked because they played Sordid Mouth, Fire Eyes, and I was that's like my favorite Norma Jean song, dude. I was just all out there fucking wild. As I'm freezing my ass off because, they gave us this little bitty booth section, and I'm over by the front door, and it's like middle of winter, dude. It's in December in Bakersfield, so it's cold.
Every time it opens up.
In front of the merch booth, freezing my ass off, dude. And then when they came on, I got to go see them. So yeah, it was good.
You weren't cold anymore. You got in that pit and warmed up pretty quickly, probably.
Real quick. It's funny too because when you're in Bakersfield and you go to a show like that, you're bound to run into people. I had people that I hadn't seen since high school show up. One of my best buds, this dude named Chris Fink and Robert Terry showed up, and they're all looking at. Well, he came to see us play, but Robert Terry shows up and he's like, "Holy shit!" And I'm up there being cheesy, playing guitar solos and stuff, and they were all laughing. I ran into my buddy Daniel Wise from high school. It was cool because it was around my birthday, it was around Chris's birthday, and we literally just had like a mini high school reunion, and I felt like I was fucking 17 again.
Reunion in the pit. Doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can everybody find you and your band? If someone said, "Hey Shane, where is the best place to go to keep up with everything Moya?" Where would you tell them to go?
Probably. So there's two places that if you have Facebook, you can find us at Moya. I believe it's Moya 661's Facebook. I'll pull it up right now and I'll give you guys the whole addresses. Now, our Instagram is a good one. I actually run the Instagram account, and the Instagram account is going to be Moya underscore the band, or Moya underscore the underscore band.
Okay.
We also have Twitter at Moya 661, and then we have a website that you can go to. The website will actually take you all the way to all of our socials. I can actually link that in the comments and do all of that, so I can let them know too.
Cool. Hell yeah. Well,
also moving forward, I was going to say, just moving forward, we will be producing and putting out the third album, I want to say by middle of this year. We're already in pre-production, so we have the songs done. We just need to mix and master.
And so basically what you're saying is we're going to have to do this breakdown again with the new music.
Honestly, dude, I was going to hit you up, message you later, and be like, anytime you want to do this, I'm down to have a conversation with you again.
Yeah,
We should be shooting a new single as soon as possible, and when we do, I'll let you know.
Hell yeah. Well, Shane, thank you for coming on here. There was a lot of really deep stuff that you just talked about tonight, and it's not an easy thing to do. It's an extremely hard thing to do. But you did it, and I hope that this sparks, the whole point of the podcast is to just spark conversation. Hey, let's talk. Yeah, we're all metal fans. We all listen to Metallica, but we also have feelings too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind headbanging, but I also want to be able to cuddle my wife later. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Fine.
Cuddle with the wife and cats.
Yeah, absolutely. All four of them. I had a lot of fun tonight. This was really good for me. It gave me a good outlet, so I really appreciate it.
Cool, man.